Lazy pony. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Go Live. What a wonderful Saturday evening. We have an incredible show for you. You may be noticing there's someone missing. Don't worry. He's coming. He's coming. And it's going to be an excellent show nonetheless as we hold the line, hold the fort as we get in on some sauciness. But before we do introduce our permanent guest, we have to introduce Asa, co-host, co-founder of GameOnDaily. Shout out to you. How are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm looking forward to this. I don't normally partake in the console wars like you do, but Doc's not here yet, and Blaze as well. They're both some of the lightest, funniest people in that space. So it should be an entertaining, messy little show.
The funny thing is, when I sorted and announced it, Asa, your reaction was, wait a minute, wow, Doc and Blaze, do they get on? Because
I was a little concerned because it could go the wrong kind of messy if they don't. But
nah.
No, Doc's my guy. That's my guy, man.
It is. I did tell him that as well. We were in Discord for quite some time. It is, ladies and gentlemen, Blaze 4K. What you saying, G?
Yeah. I'm chilling, bro. Happy to be back. I'm really here for Asa, honestly, if I gotta be honest with you. But no, I'm happy to be back, honestly. And Gaz is so entertaining. I was just telling him, I was like, man, Gaz, when you're on my show, bro, the show's just he's just entertaining, you know what I mean? He's a prick, but he's entertaining, you know? So I'm happy to be here. Stop calling me a damn pony, guys. What else do you want from me, man?
I know.
Look. Look. Forget it.
You don't have to turn that off. No, but actually, Blaze, you're more of a PC guy now. Surely you are spending some major money on it. You've already got a serious piece of kit under your desk, and now you're looking to invest in more. What's going on? What happened? Did this next gen let you down? Why have you moved to PC?
Listen, my PlayStation is an exclusive box machine. It's just what it is. If you're a PlayStation fan and you're still playing third-party games on your PlayStation, it's strictly for the ecosystem or for the trophies or whatever. But I can't fathom to play a game on a PlayStation 5 when I have a 3090 or a 4090 in a week or two. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense to me. Why I want to play my games wherever they play best.
Yeah.
Right. That's it, period. Like, it has nothing to do with, there's no allegiance to anything. If the game plays better on Xbox, let's say, I'd be playing on Xbox. That's it.
No, shout out to you for that, because I keep calling you buddy, but you've always been someone who will go.
I'm fair. Listen, I prefer PlayStation exclusives. Chat, I'm sorry. They make the best.
Don't just say sorry.
No, it's the truth though. Like right now, PlayStation's making the better exclusives. Right now, it is what it is. But that don't mean nothing. You know what
Tim
I mean?
Pear in the chat says Gaz is more of a pony than Blaze. Wow. I don't think that's the case, but shout out to you. Boba Fett, what are you saying? Shout out to everyone in chat. Shout out to 231 people. Thank you for waiting patiently. Doc's got some major things he's actually dealing in the background, but he will be here. He'll be joining us very, very soon, as soon as he can. But yeah, don't worry about it. We'll get into it. Look. Why is it Doc is making his... Oh, you're so lucky, Blaze, because I know Doc would have rinsed you on this first topic.
He's actually late because he's scared, but go ahead.
And he's not. Shout out to him. He's got some dealing with some madness. But he will be here hopefully soon. The last week, and I want to apologize to Dorian Gray. He actually managed to super chat twice that I completely missed. And then he brought it to my attention. And these two topics, his super chats will actually lead us into the first topic. One, he says, when eggs were $9, I guess they were quality. I think he's alluding to price there, but shout out to you, Dorian. And then the other super chat was, let PlayStation VR make their own games. When PC gamers want PS games, we're port beggars. But now they're entitled to Half-Life. Alex, he says, get the out. Blaze, do you have anything to say to that? This guy is pissed that people are saying, give us Half-Life Alex on PlayStation VR 2.
Well, Half-Life Alex is one of the best VR games ever made. So I mean, it's rightly so. You know, with PlayStation having new hardware that people want it. You know what I mean? And if Valve was smart, which I don't think Valve has any allegiance, I don't think they're worried about putting games on play. Like I feel like they want to make the most amount of money as they can. So yeah. I'm sure it's coming down the pipeline. But to be upset about it, no. Like if I'm a PlayStation fan, I absolutely want Half-Life Alex.
Yeah.
Period.
In fact, if I knew it was coming out, I'm actually going to get a start. Finally, Ace says play on the Quest 2, but part of me wants to wait for the PlayStation VR 2 because I am slowly edging towards getting this device, man. So the PlayStation VR 2 is out. The release is there. You did a weird unboxing video where you literally ate into the box. Mm-hmm. You love eating boxes out. But that's inappropriate. But PlayStation 2, you on Twitter I was taken aback by this, and but you said it, and you are a VR connoisseur who has had multitude of VR devices that you've sampled and a very hardcore running rig. You said PlayStation VR 2 exceeded your expectations, and that's not a small thing to say because the week before that, you were waxing lyrical about this device, and the weeks before that as well. So tell us what's going on. Is this really that impressive, and why?
It's difficult to talk about things when hyperbole is running rampant everywhere, and people have really strong divisive opinions one way or the other. So either it's the best headset ever, or VR is terrible and nobody should ever strap these things to their face. Truth about this thing is I had pretty realistic expectations about it. I've played a lot of different VR headsets over a lot of years, and I know the technology and the specs that they're putting into it. I know what they're going to be like on my face. But when I jumped into Horizon Call of the Mountain, which regardless of how it is overall as a game, when you jump into that and you see the color and clarity that this thing provides in those moments, and this is Horizon Forbidden West is a showpiece for a reason. Like, they are playing to the strengths of the headset. It does have weaknesses as well, but this game very much plays to the strengths. And you get in there, and I was just like taken aback by how crisp and clear and bright and vibrant this thing is. And this is next to very high-end PC things. It is beautiful. It does have flaws. I'm not glossing over the things that are not perfect, but first impressions, and in terms of bringing VR to an audience that haven't had this kind of thing before, I think they're going to love it because it's high quality stuff.
So the thing that you stood out there, you talked about quality, and one of the things I always complained to you about is like it's still blurry, it's still making me focus where I want to. But is this going to be something that you think will pacify me or impress me or the masses?
No, nothing impresses you. You have like crazy high expectations for everything, but the masses, yeah, absolutely. It's not like so PlayStation VR 1, I was fairly negative on that as a device. I really respected Sony for what they did and what they managed to pull out of a PlayStation 4 and how they got that thing working at all. But it was a vomit box. It was blurry. It wasn't actually a nice experience, despite their best efforts. That is not true anymore. So PlayStation VR 2
was
genuine.
Was that your first experience though, PSVR 1?
No, I've been on VR for 6 years.
Okay, so that's why, because when that was my first introduction to VR. So I even though there was, it was so convoluted to set it up, it was a pain in the ass. But I was blown away personally the first time because it was the first VR experience. But going back to it, the fact that, like you said, you needed a camera and these lights, it's prehistoric when you look at it now. It's like look at all the things you needed to get it functionally running. It's that PSVR, but it did its job. It definitely broke the industry open, and it made it. It's still, people still calling it a gimmick, but it definitely pushed VR forward big time. So. But
what about this one, Blaze? You got yours luckily yesterday, which is good because you almost didn't get yours. What's your impression so far? Because I was on RGT with you and Big Cloud and Cage. Lovely to meet her. What's your take now? I didn't get a chance to hear your impressions then. And what do you think? Are you sold on it? Is this big?
Yeah. Well, I put it on. It's completely pitch dark. Now, clearly, the headset's not on yet, but even the PSVR 1 or the Quest 2, there's still a little light bleed. But when you put this on, they did a good job of it's complete pitch dark. Matter of fact, when I turned it on, there was like I almost had a seizure because it was so bright. I was like, whoa. But you get in there, it just, the controllers feel familiar somewhat to like the Quest and other controllers, but it's the software. Like it feels new, next gen, like you're going, like it just, the eye tracking is incredible when you're like turning it to match your eyes. It felt just next gen new. And once I got into I played, what's the kayak game? Asa, have you played that game?
Yeah.
Bro, out of all the VR games, I was the most impressed by a kayak game. I'm kayaking. It
looks good even in video, I'll be honest.
Dude, this game is so immersive. And I'm just pedaling. You know, my girlfriend came in. She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, I just like shoot her away. And it was so immersive. I played Pavlov. I played a bunch of multiplayer. I played 3 hours straight until my controller died. And I also played
3 hours for the controller. That's pretty good, no? I thought it was 1.5 hours.
Well, because I had put it down and grabbed it again. But then I played. I got a review code for Moss through PlayStation. Oh, yeah? So I played that. That's the remaster of the original one. Better textures, better. But I just want to say this: anybody that was complaining about the price, and saying the wire, the Quest 2's wireless, and people looking at that, but the way they positioned the wire, you don't even feel like you're tethered to anything.
Oh, I nearly died.
What?
Really?
The wire for me, because it depends how you play, but I'm very much a stand-up, turn-around virtual reality player. I do not like to stick turn. I very much turn around. And I've got, like I said, I've been doing VR for a long time, and wireless is relatively new. I learned to deal with a cable over 4 or 5 years, but I've got like a ridiculous system of pulleys on my ceiling to keep that thing out of the way.
I do too.
Pulleys on your ceiling?
No, I don't get a pulley. But I got a hook that I just run it over, so you can turn without it dragging around your legs. That's so smart.
Yeah,
hardcore.
But I did still, even with that, because I haven't used it for a while and I couldn't be bothered to set it up entirely before playing around on the PlayStation VR 2. I was spinning around and was like, hang on a minute, I'm actually tying myself in knots here. So this is going to be a problem for people that get it and don't have like the dedication to kind of set up a room around being able to move. But
Asa, how much is the Valve Index, Asa?
A lot, if they're still selling it. I thought they discontinued that recently, but it's so on the price point. I'm absolutely with you on the price point. We had a big conversation about this last week with people trying to convince us that it's too expensive for what it is, but you have to consider what it sits up against. And a lot of people compare it to the Quest 2 and the Pico 4, like native standalone VR headsets, and the experience is night and day different. These are not comparable in the slightest. And if you look to get like an equivalent PlayStation VR experience or better, equivalent is very difficult. Better is possible. Right. But you're talking about spending like 3 times as much money if you include the PC and all the rest of it relative to like a PlayStation 5 and a PSVR 2. So value proposition, yeah, it's a lot of money to ask people to spend. It is an expensive device, but it, within the context of the VR industry, as it were, it does justify it to me. So
yeah, they're still selling the Valve Index. That's Steam's VR, and I didn't know the resolution was substantially greater, not just like a little bit. Like it's like the Valve Index is closer to like 1440p ish, and the PlayStation VR 2 is closer to 4K. It's a massive, man. I just can't. I kind of like, all right, let's try these games out, because I'm playing. If you bought the PSVR 2 and you've owned VR headsets, you're looking at the lineup and said, well, I've played the majority of these games already, right?
Yeah.
But Kayak VR is a different game from the Quest version. After the Fall, I played on Quest 2, different game. Like, just in terms of the visual fidelity, the sharpness, it just they did a great job. And the price is fairly matched. Honestly, if it was more expensive, I would understand. Honestly, I swear to God, I would.
And I get what you say, that because you're getting a lot of hardware for your money. It's just because of the price comparisons, the current economic climate, and also the big one, gents, is the games. GT7's VR is really, really calling me. It's pulling me every time I see the people play it, and I'm like, I really want to play that, but with a steering wheel like here on my desk, and that would be perfect. But what is the next big game that you guys are hoping? Well, there's none. We had a state of play. We'll talk about that later on. But are you like without any big games?
Yeah, the problem with PSVR is is Sony will never allocate Naughty Dog, Gorilla.
Why?
They'll
Well,
never.
they have Gorilla.
Maybe the B team, maybe they can figure it out, but I just don't see them saying, "Hey, stop what you're doing and go make a classic VR game." But if you look at what Valve did when they took it serious, you've seen all the praise Half-Life got. Like, I think if they made, could you imagine just like a Killzone, a Last of Us, some sort of they actually take it serious and go. But until Sony
Killzone VR properly serious could be a very big deal, man.
But if Sony wants people to take VR seriously, then Sony got to get their head out of their ass and take it seriously as well. You can't just have these little bullshit studios making VR games. Get your big hitters and actually give it a chance. Attempt it. At least one studio. Attempt it once, Sony. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. This is what I said. I even said that it's not going to be the third parties who's going to do it. It's going to be the first parties. And if they take it seriously, there's no reason. And actually, I would say, Acer, don't Sony have a burden to discharge with supporting hardware devices properly with what happened with the Vita, with what happened with the PSVR 1. That really there is a burden here that they need to, exactly what Blaze just said. The first party studios need to show up and put up some serious time and budget to deliver on a hardware that looks so, well, as you say, so amazing.
What I typically say on that is, if anybody is worried about like the future support and the catalog for the PlayStation VR 2 headset, there is no way that you can dismiss that as a concern at the moment, because it is a legitimate one. Nobody knows like how heavily Sony and third parties are going to keep supporting this thing. It's obviously very dependent on sales and all the rest of it. The big hope for Sony is it would be really nice if they could put some of their big first parties onto a dedicated, like a Half-Life Alyx style, this is a VR game like thing full on, but they definitely don't have like an ecosystem to support that in terms of making that money back in any remotely close way. The best like hope for them is that they do approach hybrid development. So whatever Naughty Dog are working on, be it Last of Us Part 3 or whatever else they're doing, make it with VR in mind. And the key things to doing that are, one, it has to be pretty performant, but this headset is proven to be phenomenal from what we've seen. So that I'm sure they could get a performant game out of it. And two, you need to really focus on physics for it to be a good VR game, for it to convert well into VR. The whole environment needs to be very physically interactive, but the consoles have good processors, so they can do that now. A hybrid game on the PlayStation 4 was not a realistic prospect, because you'd have to prioritize very differently to make a good flat screen pancake game. You don't have to do that anymore, so hybrid development is very viable. I hope that's what they're doing. It's what they've said they will, but time will tell. In terms of games that are coming, though, it's not completely dry. Like, I would say at the moment, like the launch catalog is actually really impressive. In the launch window, there's 49 games. Like it beats out either of the consoles what they launched with. So in terms of numbers, it's pretty good. In terms of quality, you've got things like Resident Evil Village and obviously Gran Turismo 7. If Sony came out and said, this headset is a Gran Turismo accessory, it doesn't play any other games, it would still almost be worth it. Like, you can play that one forever. If you enjoy racing and you want to get into the online scene, then you're not short of content anyway. But
it's incredible.
Have you tried GT7?
I was gonna wait for my steering wheel, but I'm like, you know what? And I'm like, it's the full game. It's like PSVR Gran Turismo. Like, you like, wow, this looks like shit, and you just notice the setbacks right away. When you get into Gran Turismo now, you're like, it's like you can't really tell the difference. It's
that's good, man. That's mad.
It's crazy, but I think Sony's banking on the hardware. They're like, well, the hardware is so good that they can slack on putting out the software, because our hardware is so good. So any game that comes to our our PSVR is going to perform and do well and be better than the majority of headsets out there, unless you want to spend $1,500. But I hope Sony takes it seriously and gets a first party studio to make a game, just at least attempt it. Somebody has said on Twitter, the PS Vita didn't get a second chance. And I'm like, buddy, it did. The PSP was first. The Vita is the second chance. You know what I mean? But they're saying the Vita sold 16 million, but the PSVR one sold what, 6 million or something like that?
Yeah,
I don't know. So, just like Gran Turismo as a little example of how impressive it is when you go to play it. It's not like flawless. If you go into any experience looking to find problems, then you will find problems. And Gran Turismo has trees that follow you around if you happen to look at them. But apart from that, if you're in the car and you look at the interior of the car and it's got like any reflective surfaces in there, it reflects your driver, so you can look at your head and just like see your driver's reflection on the dash in the plasticky surface. It's amazing. Yeah, it tracks your head movement, and it's so good. And Gran Turismo 7, you know that I do not like that as a game. I did not like that as a game prior to this, and it's still got all the bullshit. You still have to go to the cafe and do the menus and go through like all of that nonsense, but it doesn't matter when you get into the car. It's just like
driving experience is elevated. I mean that's crazy. Shout out to Hoggy with the $5 super chat. Hoggy. He says it's difficult for anyone to make a AAA game and make their money back, let alone a game dedicated to VR targeting a small audience. Too big a gamble. But then Sony took the gamble on the hardware. So this is why I was asking, what's the strategy here with PSVR? I think it definitely needs that big game, and they definitely need to take that big gamble. And it's going to be hard. It's definitely going to be hard.
Yeah, you're
Richie,
a lawyer?
Yeah.
Okay, so pony it up and spend the money, buddy. What are we doing?
I will spend the money. It's a question of will I actually use it, and I think I will.
He wants to go on vacations and sit by the pool and put it to Twitter and say, buy.
I hate the play, hate the game. I want to chill, bruh. I don't want to puke as my gaming experience. No, in fact, actually, Asa, you said that there were some negatives with the PSVR headset. What are they?
There are a few negatives. One of them, the obvious one, the cable is there, and it will stop you if you're a stand-up spin around gamer like I am, which you should be. It is the best way to move within VR. Don't be so lazy, Gaz. It's good for you. And it is more fun. It's more immersive. It's more entertaining than using a stick to move, and it's less likely to make you sick. So very much recommend everyone stands up and plays games where applicable. Not Gran Turismo, don't stand up trying to race, that'd be weird. But most of the games, stand up and turn. It's more natural, it's a better way to do it. So the cable is one problem. The other ones are it uses Fresnel lenses, which were common in VR for like 5 years or so. But some people in that space have started to move over to, ironically, pancake lenses, which are superior in every way. The lenses in like the Quest Pro and the Pico 4, you pop the thing on, it doesn't really matter how well positioned it is, and you can see everything on the entire screen like pretty much perfectly. PlayStation VR has Fresnel lenses. Fresnel lenses, so they have quite a narrow sweet spot. So if the headset juts or isn't perfectly positioned, then it is a lot more blurry. You've got like chromatic aberration at the edges. So particularly if you're playing Gran Turismo 7 and you go to a stupid cafe and it's got subtitles, those subtitles will have really severe, because they're at the bottom of the screen, they have really severe, like not stretching, but chromatic aberration. So you can see like the red and the green, like double up of the words. And it's definitely not enough to take away from the experience. And like I say, when you play something vibrant like Horizon, this is why I say that Horizon plays up to the strengths of the headset, then it's brilliant. But, and the other big one that a lot of people do talk about is Mura, which is harder to get around. So it's like, in certain colors, certain scenes, there's like it's almost a film, a very transparent but still just about visible film in front of whatever you're playing, and you can pick that up and you can see it is real. And people that are like dismissing all of the potential flaws are probably lying to you, because there are some flaws, and it's still a brilliant headset.
I heard you can get rid of that. So, make it. I forgot that was. I just got recommended a video. You can slightly make it more. It's not. You know what I mean? If you're not looking directly down the middle. But this way it changes it. It makes the field of view wider, so you're not having those, like you said, the chromatic aberration. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if it's true. I haven't clicked the video yet. But.
Richie Torres, MMA, thank you for the $5 super chat. Because Sony, in my experience, doesn't engage in consumer-friendly practices. All you got to do is look at how they handled backwards compatibility. Yesterday, you were complaining, Blaze, to me about the fact that you had to rebuy a lot of the games on this PSVR 2. Surely that's a bit of a
I own them all. I owned a bunch of them, but there are a few games. Ironically, they are backwards. If you own, I think it's. Don't quote me on this. There's a couple games that are back. If you've owned it, it's a free upgrade. Like after the fall, I think. Those are just a couple. A few of them.
Can I? Yeah. So if you're looking at the PSVR 1 library, the games that you've got, what are the ones that you wish they would bring forwards?
Blood and Truth, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Firewall, but they're making a new one, which is I can't wait for that game.
Yeah, same.
That looks good, actually. Firewall. I never knew about it until the trailer.
Oh my God, it's Pavlov is more CS:GO-ish, but Firewall is more like Call of Duty, pick up and go, and they brought all like the weird ones like Tetris Effect that people like.
I love that game.
Like, dude, Tetris.
I completed that on Quest.
Have you played that bro?
Completed incredible. It on Quest. It's amazing.
Incredible.
Beautiful game.
Thumper, all the games I really liked, they brought over. But the problem is I had to rebuy them. You know what I mean? Saints and Sinners, big time game, bro. Big time. The first one's not available yet, is it?
It's not. No, they are enhancing it though. But the second one comes out in March.
Saints and Sinners. Have you played that?
It's one of my favorites. It came out in the same year as Half-Life Alyx, and I feel it was fairly hard done by to be overshadowed because it is brilliant. Just you stab a zombie, and then you go to pull the knife or the spoon out of its brain, and it's just a little bit jammed. You have to give it enough force. It's so good. It's
so incredible. Like the physics. Like I had a quest real quick. Like the lady's like, "Oh, if you go here, I'll give you the key to this, secret room with guns." I'm like, I just took all my guns, shot her in the head, and took the key. Like that interaction. Instead of doing the quest, I just killed her and took the key. It was just Saints and Sinners is awesome, man. Awesome.
Oh
game.
wow. Okay. You guys are selling me on this thing. God, this is bad timing, but you guys are selling it on to me. So overall impressions are very good start to it. Very promising. It all boils down to the hardware, but as a launch device, and pretty much everyone is really waxing lyrical about how amazing the device is. So I hope Sony, the pressure is on you, PlayStation. You need to make sure, like Blaze is saying, I really hope the first party studios dedicate some real time, money, and consideration into this device, because it would be a shame if this incredible device, and me and Acer and Blaze, I assume, really are believers in VR as a tech and really want something in the mainstream to push that tech forward, so it doesn't get lost and relegated to the sidelines.
VR is never gonna take over you're always gonna pick up a controller and play games, but it's a change of pace. When people call VR a gimmick, I kind of laugh at them. It's like either they haven't tried it or their experience was with Nintendo Labo. Because if you try VR and you see the potential in it, it's an absolute game changer. And 3D was a gimmick for gaming. VR is not that. You know what I mean? So it is.
Yeah. Jesus. Well, it is. It's impressive. Fine, I'll buy it, you motherfucker.
Yeah, you will.
Thing.
When people I advocate and laugh that VR is going to replace everything, I don't believe it. Virtual reality is not going to replace pancake games any more than pancake games are going to replace movies and Netflix. These things will coexist as different experiences, and you'll play the one that you want to at the time.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it will replace it. I really believe one day it will be the future. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by Face 23 Brooklyn, New York, man. Thank you very much for that very ridiculously high super chat.
Wow.
Thank you. Couple of super chats here. Let me, Mr. XS Humaru. I think I said that right. I'm kind of proud of myself for that, because there's a lot of X's there. Talking about a big game, where the hell are the big Xbox games? Why they're so content of being outsold 80-20 by the PlayStation 5? Xbox needs new leaders now. So we did see some hardware sales, and the disparity between the numbers was shockingly high, in favor of PlayStation. PlayStation is selling out 4-1 or something, 3-1. Their stock issues are pretty much gone now. You can buy them anywhere, even the standalone PlayStation 5. I'm seeing them now in shops, and I think that's helping it out. But in terms of games, though, Blaze, isn't this looking a bit up? I know you're a VR head, but as far as Pancake, humorous peasants.
Oh, so let's just remove VR. Let's act like VR don't exist for this, right? Is that what you want to do?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, it's a niche device. Even if you don't remove the VR device, but it's pretty lopsided on paper, right? Because Xbox actually does have.
This year, Sony needs to tell me what they got cooking, because, other than the Wolverine that's years away, and Spider-Man 2, that's the same game in New York all over again. You know what I mean? Think about that. Oh, people expect all right, Spider-Man 2 in New York again. We've already done it with Miles Morales and the original. So I know they didn't add every borough and every part of New York.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for it. I'm not trying to talk shit about Spider-Man, but I want, I just want a little information. It's like Sony's holding their cards. This whole Activision, I feel like Sony's just like either. I don't believe Sony's usually every year has something prepared. They have a few games and they put them out. Like, they're not going to pull a Microsoft 2022. It's not going to happen. Yeah. They'll put out something.
They've already got one game that makes it not possible anyway. So
I know, but they need to have something, because like I said, Xbox, that snowball is going to continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And, I just want Sony to be, just tell us what's going on, man. Stop giving these waste of state of plays. That state of play was I literally.
We can talk. Yeah,
it was trash.
You thought it was trash. Well, I was going to get into that after, but we'll talk about it now. So, I am seeing a lot of people, a lot of PlayStation hardcore people as well, like being really pissed off at PlayStation because they were like, there was not a single first-party game showed off in this state of play. They really want to see a state of a play that does show off those first-party titles. But you still got a lot of topical stuff coming out of it. So you got the VR games. I got Journey to Foundation. Synapse looked good. That's coming out this year, apparently. But you've got Destiny 2 Lightfall trailer looked good. Blah,
nice
blah, blah.
Yep.
Yeah, and Street Fighter 6, Zangief looked cool. So did Cameos looks cool. Lily looks like she's overpowered, by the way. That looked good. But we'll go into the other one. But let me read the super chat from Face. I see you in chat. Maybe this is the best time to read it now. I always try to weave the super chat in to the conversation, so it's not like I'm forgetting. But you did say this with $100 super chat. Shout out to Face. What a crazy amount to give. He goes, dollar bet. Within a year from its launch, gamers will fully appreciate that the PlayStation 5 is one of the most revolutionary, inspired home consoles ever designed, and will feel silly for having spent arguing about teraflops or other similar misunderstood topics. Asa, what do you think of that super chat? That's a pretty loaded one.
Yeah, it's a loaded one. Thanks for that. Seriously, thanks for the super chat, though. That's like ridiculously generous and helps us a lot. So thank you very much. Is what I think of that. In terms of it being revolutionary, I've said for a long time before PlayStation VR 2 came about as a thing that the PlayStation 5 was primarily designed to be a good virtual reality console, and I still believe that. So, and when I say that, I mean like the DualSense controller, resistance triggers and haptic feedback. They're a gimmick in the DualSense controller, and they're just like it does not feel like I'm shooting a bow if the trigger's a little bit resistant. But in the DualSense, whatever they call the VR controllers, they're not a gimmick anymore. So all of the research and development for this, I'm absolutely convinced, for the controllers at least, made for VR. That USB-C port on the front, made for VR. Solid state drive, yes, it's really helpful for all sorts of gaming. Absolutely critical in VR because you cannot sit in loading screens. So everything about that console, if you're talking about revolution, if you're talking about virtual reality, I agree. It's made for it. It's designed for virtual reality, and it's a wonderful console for that. If you're talking about revolutionary in terms of pancake gaming and how it stands relative to the Xbox consoles, less convinced that it's a massive difference between them. It's performing admirably. I'm sure we're going to talk a bit later about how the consoles are stacking up against each other at the moment. But in terms of flat screen gaming, Microsoft and Sony have taken very similar approaches and delivered very similar feature sets. So, yeah. Blaze has stuff to say. Go on, Blaze, pick it up.
Blaze, I know what you're going to talk about. That's a separate topic, Face. You'll be happy to know about the comparative performance between the consoles, and I think Face was alluding to that as well. Face, we will talk about it. But quickly on the state of play. So Street Fighter 6, Resident Evil 4, they were the standouts. Resident Evil 4 looks crazy.
Crazy.
I have to take a U-turn on the remakes thing. The Last of Us remake, I'm still not a fan because I played it and I was like, oh, that's kind of boring. But Dead Space changed my mind. Resident Evil 4.
Moving
What
goalposts,
is
eh?
it?
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I just don't like the Last of Us had a remaster, then it had this, and just the proximity between the releases, and I still genuinely can't be. You know what? I still haven't played The Last of Us 2 because it's here. I'm looking at it right now, and I can't play it because I can't be asked. I don't know why. Because people ruined the story. The story's really a thing that what happens to Joel really puts me off. But Resident Evil 4. I really want to play this, even though my biggest complaint when it first came out, was it lost the horror factor. Resident Evil 4 never felt that scary to me, but it was still something amazing on the GameCube. But this remake looks amazing. Like it's less of a jump from like Resident Evil 2 and 3 because they went completely different from isometric like fixed camera views to 3D whatever, the over the shoulder thing. But Resident Evil 4 looks incredible, man. When is this coming out? Do we know the release date for this?
I think March.
March. Oh my god, man! Like, how are we gonna? There's too many games.
What's coming out in March?
Well, 3rd of March is when a lot of people. Well, it depends. Wolong Fallen Dynasty is coming out.
Oh, that's right.
Which I'm playing now. Our review will be out when the embargo lifts.
You break it.
Can't talk about it. I can't talk about it. But yeah, been playing that a lot.
That looks good.
What else is coming out in March?
Jedi.
Saints and Sinners 2.
Yes, sir.
Is it?
Yeah, I think he's right.
Oh wow, okay. Well, you guys were talking about it so much, like it's on my radar now. Saints and Sinners, based on what you've told me. You're putting it up there with Half-Life Alyx.
Yes.
I guess I'll play the demo on PSVR too, which I'm going to start ordering on my bank account. But yeah, so like Resident Evil 4, great game. A lot of people are very impressed. I'm looking forward to this one. Jedi is late April, Charlie. Okay. What else is coming out in chat?
Yeah, got put back 6 weeks.
Yeah, which is good, thank God, because I start my new job soon and I just need some time. So yeah, MLB The Show, I guess, for the Americans. Yeah, exactly. So for us, baseball means nothing. It's like saying cricket to you Americans, like cricket, really.
Do you know what would make me understand the baseball game? VR.
What?
It suddenly makes sense.
Have you played VR baseball before?
No, but it would make sense.
Incredible.
Halo Season 3 is out in March. So Halo Season 3 is... so Halo's... what's it called? Trailer came out. That looked really impressive, actually. Good trailer. I couldn't see it because official Halo blocked me, so everyone was sharing. I'm like, what are they sharing? Why is this account blocked? Oh, this is bloody Halo. It's like, it's a bit weird to be blocked by them. Oh, talk about discourse, yeah? John Jr. said, you piece of... Anyway, the game that really is quite divisive at State of Play was Suicide Squad. 7 years in the making. Rocksteady have had a solid rep. Everyone's really looking forward to it. But we got very in-depth gameplay for this game. And I was watching BG's reaction to it. Initially, I said, oh, that looks... And then you looked at it. And the game trailer reminds... the names that it looks similar to don't inspire confidence. Crackdown. And we know how Crackdown ended up. Saints Row, and I'm like, okay, and a bit of Gotham Knights, but I don't want to hate on it. Like it looks solid. I worry about this games as a service game, maybe because it is a games as a service game. Well, I mean, forget me on this because I'll sum it up at the end. But what do you think, Blaze? Were you impressed with this? Do you think, are you a bit concerned with this?
Rocksteady's never put out anything bad in the history of Rocksteady. But I will say this: the people that are saying, "Oh, it's not what I was expecting," we've seen gameplay for what, a few years now. Like, this is exactly what I expected. Like, if you expected a single player, campaign that would, it's exactly what I expected. Now, people are saying the graphics are not as good. Facial, listen, it doesn't look bad. I think when people look at like Batman and they see. You got to remember, Batman, it's always dark. It's always raining. There's reflections everywhere. And they could do so much with that because it was never daytime. It was just strictly nighttime all the time. And it looked incredible. Yeah. But I think this game will do well for a live service game. I don't know. It just doesn't look for me, man. Like you said, it reminds you of all the worst games we've already played, and that's not a good thing. So, but I'll give it a chance. I just don't. Everything's going live service, and it's just like,
yeah, you know? The live service bit. What about you, Asa? Were you a fan before?
So obviously, I really, really respect and love the work that Rocksteady have done previously. I think moving away from the combat system, the single player like context sensitive melee combat that they pioneered, is a brave move for them. I actually think the gameplay looks fun in this. I think the speed, the verticality is very dynamic. It looks good to me visually. I think it's impressive as well from what I'm seeing in the trailer. The thing that concerns me though is same as everyone else. Like it's got gear score menus, it's got a battle pass menu, it's got a store menu, and like live service games just never respect your time as a player. It's such a rare thing that there is a good one. I don't want a game that's giving me daily quests and crap like that. I'd much rather this game told an awesome co-op story, one and done. I'd be perfectly happy. But live service makes it a bit more of a hard sell. I do think it looks moment to moment really fun though.
I think in co-op, this will be a lot of fun moment to moment because when you say, okay, it's easy to dismiss it because it looks like Crackdown because of the verticality, but the verticality and the traversal in Crackdown is actually incidentally the fun part of Crackdown. In fact, the whole game is based on that, collecting the orbs primarily and just building up. But combine that with the gunplay and solid, then let's see the boss. I mean, like he's shooting purple blobs on tanks and on the bosses, and it seems like some of that design of encounter design looks a bit weak, or generic, or it depends on. There's so much mayhem there. If you will notice this trailer, there's so much going on. You cannot stand still in this game. That's what I really like. It's like there's lasers firing at you multiple times. You have to keep moving. Traversal.
You guys notice the tank? You guys play Batman with a laser that would point you and you have to move with the tank. They have those same lasers in this game. It's hilarious.
Yeah. Well, look at that here. The purple cyst he's shooting off this turret, and it's just like, I don't know, man.
I'm sure it's a good time. You got a group of friends.
Hopefully. Let's see how this one turns out. It's just, it was before I was very optimistic and like this is going to be incredible from what they showed off. Now I'm like, it could go the other way, and that's where I'm a little bit concerned. Shout out to Porter Rock in the chat. But otherwise, the state of play didn't really hit it home for a lot of PlayStation gamers. I understand why, because really, they want the first party goodness. And this year, there are some question marks around what PlayStation can deliver. I mentioned on RGT yesterday that the big one that could potentially surprise a lot of people is most likely going to be a free-to-play game, and that's Naughty Dog's Last of Us Factions. If that releases and that has the quality that it could potentially deliver, that could be a very big deal, multiplayer-wise, and it will change the narrative quite a bit. Asa, I'm keeping a keen eye on that one because a multiplayer first-party title delivered by Naughty Dog versus even in the console war space, the optics of that would be pretty detrimental to Xbox, which I guess has a Gears game coming out for it. But Gears is perhaps arguably not going to have this concerted effort to deliver a multiplayer only game.
And if you notice, they've been really, really, people are dying, they keep delaying it, not talking about it and not showing anything. But there's benefits to not showing stuff as well. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to have a Halo Infinite where you show something and people they're not happy with the product you're showing them. This way, I just feel like they're slow balling it, but all for good cause. Like they're taking their time. They're gonna make sure it's ready to go and it's polished. Because if it took this long and it comes out and it's not polished and it's but again, Naughty Dog's track record, whether you like directions of stories or their games or not, it's always been one thing. It's always been it's had quality and This is good. This is big for PlayStation. They need that. They desperately need a first party multiplayer game. And
hopefully they will get it. But this year they do. I have question marks around their future roadmap, by the way. Wolverine it will be incredible if it's mature, which it should reported to be.
It's got
hopefully more linear as well, because I think that would suit Wolverine.
Yeah.
I've been reading, by the way, the comics and of X-Men. The world is not aware, unless people have read the comics, of how incredible this story is. It's one of the best pieces of story in science fiction I have read ever. I'm not exaggerating. I'm going to put it on my personal channel. I'm going to edit a video that no one's going to watch, but it's about that comic. It's just, there's so much stories to be told. Which my comic book video was a precursor to that. There's so much scope in gaming for those kind of games. But yeah, Nathan Martin with a £5 super chat. Thank you, man. He goes, as someone who doesn't own a PlayStation 5, but has experience in Quest 2, do you think the cost of a console and the PSVR 2 will give me a better experience for the money? What do you think, gents?
Wait, ask again.
As someone who doesn't own a PlayStation 5, but has the experience in Quest 2, do you think the cost of the console and the PlayStation VR 2 will give him a better experience for his money?
That puts you in a really fairly unique, delicate situation, because you've got options there. If you've got a Quest 2, then price-wise, a PlayStation 5 plus a PlayStation VR 2 is comparable to getting a PC to use with the Quest that you've already got. So the PlayStation VR 2 has much better display, much better visual quality than the Quest 2, but a Quest 2 can get rid of that wire, which can mean a lot. So if you're already happy with the kind of the brightness, the goggles that you have on the Quest 2, if that's a satisfactory experience to you, then a PC to combine with it might be a better option. It might not. You're on the fence there. It is a much better, like I said at the start of the show, than when we were talking VR. PlayStation VR 2 is a much better experience than native Quest 2. So
yeah,
and you get PlayStation with that
by a lot. But even on the Quest 2, if you want to take advantage and get a better resolution, you have to have that wire plugged into your PC. You can still play wirelessly on PC, but if you want to have the resolution better, and I know you think you don't notice it, but I noticed it.
Some people do, to be fair. Some people do. So if you play any of the Quest headsets wirelessly on a PC, you do get more compression than you would with a wire. But for me, so I use Airlink or Virtual Desktop, and I find the visuals phenomenal. So I've got a Quest Pro as well. A Quest Pro wirelessly with an over-spec'd PC is it trumps the PlayStation VR 2 to me. So this is what I was saying earlier. If you spend a whole lot of money, then you can get a better experience than the PlayStation VR 2. But for what it is, it's fantastic.
How much was the Quest Pro?
A lot. It's like $1,500, I think, just for the headset, and the PC over the top of that, like a powerful PC. You know what those cost, is not cheap. So
right.
Yeah. Well, Jonas the Dad, thank you for the $2 super chat. Goes, Suicide Squad is Avengers 2. Hit that like button. Don't say that. It can't be that bad, but it has the air of Avengers in there. Hopefully it's not so bad. This next topic is going to get really spicy. I do feel I am. By the way, I don't know where Doc Dark is. Colt, if you're there, are you able to jump in? Face, I missed my super chat. I read that out. You mean the $100 one?
You missed a super chat.
Missed a super chat.
Colt, not Face's super chat, another.
Oh no, I haven't missed that super chat. There's a reason for that. Because Colt, if you can come on the show, I'll send you a link. I don't think Doc's coming. And I think it's important because I think you'd like to tackle this point. It's this whole power narrative. There have been, I've DM'd you the link, Cole. If you want to, you can be naked. It's fine. Before we get into that, Portrock, thank you for the $5 super. She goes, back in 2020, I said Suicide Squad was a terrible concept when it was first revealed. Almost 3 years later, my prophecy has been fulfilled. Oh, well, it's pretty bold. I didn't think that at all. So let's see. And then I've got duplicate super chats from Paul. I said Doc Dark because they're brothers. Came twice. Okay, it's just a glitch on my YouTube.
They are brothers.
Weird. They are brothers. Yeah. There he is. How you doing, Cole?
The studio's in disarray, but thank you for bringing me on.
Thank you for coming on, man. Short notice. I don't know where Doc Doc is, but yeah, we it's important that, and Face is chomping at the bits to get you to answer this question. The power narrative, we will definitely get into it. Easy E with a $5 super chat says, I bought my Series X because Cole Eastwood told me about lots of games and GPU deltas. I have to say, 3 years into my console, I'm seriously disappointed. This is coming off the back of this another game. Like multiple games are like, overall the Xbox is performing better in res, I guess, or performance, whatever. But we've heard this.
It's the tentpole games like Hogwarts Legacy, Atomic Heart. It's some games that Xbox was marketing, or it'll just be not a random, but it'll be a big game that everyone's talking about that runs better on a PS5. But, all in all, Digital Foundry said that Series X has taken the crown, as it should, which, Asa could talk about that a little bit more. But when you see a game like, when you see Atomic Heart, like, okay, let me just get this out in the open. Like, people think I'm one of those guys that subscribes to PlayStation's pain to have the Xbox version run worse. I would never agree to that. In fact, I disagreed with that on Twitter and got attacked by probably about 150 Xbox fans. And because I said, so it's not Sony's fault that a game is running worse on Series X. And they were like, but it's in the clause. It's in the Epic versus Apple, documentation. I'm like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I mean, can we agree that narrative is a bit sketchy? I've been very vocal against how silly I think that narrative is. Atomic Heart is marketed by Xbox. It's a marketed game. It's on Game Pass, and yet quite decisively, the PlayStation 5 is besting it, which is a lot of people are rightfully talking about it. And come on, Cole, but this is 2-3 years into the fucking generation. It's embarrassing.
Language.
Sorry, I shouldn't have sworn that. Apologies. But it's embarrassing for Xbox. Like, we talked to like Jason and stuff. He obviously he can't give specifics. But when is this? Do you expect this to change? Is Xbox going to be relegated to little wins? Because even if these little wins are not enough for the money or the marketing or the...
If Digital Foundry wasn't putting out videos showing a frame drop here and there, nobody would even say a goddamn word. That's the truth. The thing is, shout out to J-Dub. He sent me a text, and it was Cole Eastwood. I clicked the video. I'm like, oh, what's this going to be? I opened the text, and it was like, it was like a rumor that PlayStation has marketing with Harry Potter. And he's like, and he said, Blaze, this is the single reason why I troll Xbox. And he put laughing. I said, oh, so what's this about? The rumor is what? If it's marketed by PlayStation, it's going to run better on PlayStation? Because if that's the case,
that's not a rumor. That's a coping mechanism for Xbox fans who think that PlayStation is paying those developers to make sure the game runs better. The real problem with the performance is Xbox's documentation and their XDK. We've heard developers say they have to work way harder to get the Xbox version to do the same thing that the PS5 is doing. The PS5 dev kit was further along and further ahead, but it was also the same instructions and same process that they use on the PS4. So everything is very, but why should they do the extra work? I truly believe that developers are barely getting games out, work in a working order as it is, and for them to struggle with a poor Xbox situation on the XDK is just more barrier to entry for them to put a game out. And so there's a couple problems that I'm looking into, and I'm asking some people behind the scenes before I can talk about it with more information. Guys, like, why do you say things like that? I'm like, because I have to protect that relationship I have with them. I have to protect that information until it's ready. I have to wait until they say I can say it came from them, because if I talk to these people and I say, well, I was talking to so-and-so real big person and they said this, it would be really bad until everything gets all ironed out and figured out. But it's a really crappy situation. Xbox has full RDNA 2 features. That one thing I'm looking into is, will they have here's the question I'm asking. Sorry, I'm talking so much.
No, go for it.
Here's the question that I'm asking these experts right now. Why would a developer use mesh shaders or sampler feedback streaming or direct storage in their game development for a multiplat, knowing they can't do it on the PS5. And that's the answer I'm waiting for. Now, mesh shaders, which is something I'm probably going to work on a video when I get a chance. It's super technical video, and it's going to take a bunch of time, but mesh shaders are, and Asa can help me out, but it's a way to make the geometry, and it's really performative. But as far as I know, the PS5 can't render mesh shaders because of its RDNA 2 feature set that is not included with mesh shaders. Asa, can you explain that better? I haven't dug into all the research on it.
Hell no, except to say, so mesh shaders, you're getting really into the technical nitty gritty that as a consumer, nobody should need to know or care about. And obviously this is like, we're not regular consumers. This is a group of people that are looking under a microscope to find out everything these consoles can do, and people that want their Xbox to be performing better than it is. So they've taken an interest in mesh shaders. I don't think there's like, you could do some, so you could read Microsoft's and AMD's dev documentation on what mesh shaders is, and you'll come away none the wiser in terms of whether devs
Right.
would or not like use it on a multi-platform game. I can see no good reason why they wouldn't. Just because a game is on PlayStation, if you've got essentially a tool set that will make it more performant on the Xbox, there's no harm to using it in a multi-platform game. Like, if you're still basing, like, you want your performance profile on your PlayStation to be, and it's this big console that you've maybe like got your marketing to do, you've targeted it first and foremost to make it work well on the PlayStation. There's still no good reason, especially when you've got like cases like Atomic Heart, where you've got exactly the same visual feature set and it's just not quite performing where it needs to be on the Xbox, like relatively. And these are small differences. Like Blaze said, if it weren't for Digital Foundry and people running software that's analyzing these frame rates, it would probably have gone unnoticed and people would have just assumed these are the same game. But reality is, it is performing slightly worse on the Xbox side of things, and mesh shaders wouldn't do any harm at all if they were going to fix that problem. If they were implemented within Unreal Engine 5 and the devs wanted to use it, I don't see it being multi-platform being a reason not to use any particular feature set on the Xbox side of things. There might be, I can't think of any good examples where it would be completely different, but these consoles are so similar, and we've discussed this quite a bit, but the full RDNA 2 line is, I don't buy into that line at all. Like, I think it's misleading. And
you know quite a bit more than I do, and I've dug into this primitive shaders versus mesh shaders, and I see people in the chat saying they have the geometry engine, but this is different. This is a specific shader for rendering on the GPU, and I haven't dug into all this information yet because I haven't started this video. But if the PlayStation 5 won't support the mesh shader rendering, then why would a developer build that into a multi-platform game? So there's a big performance overhead that gets left behind. They're like, okay, we'll just do these primitive shaders. The other problem is we're right in the middle of cross-generation still. And we have had lots of games that are next generation only, but these games are still pretty much cross-generation games. They haven't looked at what they can do with these new consoles because we're still in the middle of that crossover of the generation. So to put it more easily digestible, there are these advanced full RDNA 2 features that Xbox has that probably will not get used on multiplats. They'll use them on first-party games, but there's going to be no comparison to what the performance would be because the game doesn't exist on the other console. The other problem is the XDK and Xbox documentation has been, I've never heard it get any better. I haven't heard anything other than complaints. And then seeing the performance, like, why in the world should the raw hardware run worse than a PS5 that is using power shifting? Yeah,
So,
I mean,
the PS5 is power shifting the GPU
Yeah.
and the CPU, right? And it can make compromises, but then we're seeing games set at the same resolution, and we're seeing them perform near lock 60 on a PS5, and then you're seeing there's one more thing, and some people have talked to me about DX12 is another problem, that they're having problems with DX12. But Asa, maybe you can explain that to me. Does PlayStation not have to use DX12 even though their console is so similar?
Herein lies my problem with full RDNA 2 as a marketing buzzword, catchphrase, as it were. So when Microsoft came forwards with that and said only Xbox supports like full RDNA 2, they were specifically referring to like 4 or 5 different features that are Microsoft co-developed features. They're direct features, which is Microsoft's own library, as it were. And we don't know what Sony have. To this day, Sony have said very little. They've locked everyone under really firm NDAs. What I said at the time is full RDNA means very little because this is a Microsoft suite of tools. Sony, don't let anyone talk about their own suite of tools and their equivalents. But what we're seeing,
two of them are Microsoft suites.
There's a couple.
Like,
well, DirectML was one of them.
Architecture, but
yeah,
mesh shaders is not a Microsoft specific.
No, and there were one or two things that maybe are at a hardware level different, but Sony keep theirs under lock and key. And what we're seeing, like the reality of it as people playing these games or watching Digital Foundry videos, if we prefer, I don't know. The reality of it though is like at this point, over 2 years into the generation, this year we've had Wild Hearts is better on PlayStation, Atomic Heart is better on PlayStation, Hogwarts Legacy is better on PlayStation. There's one other game this year as well that's had its analysis done that is better on PlayStation. And if you're a consumer, it shouldn't really be your concern like what tools are or aren't be using. You just want that performance. You want your bang for your buck. I will also say though, I think this generation has been very, very good for Xbox fans and very, very bad for Xbox fanboys. So I think if you've got an Xbox, and you're playing games, you're having a great time. It is a wonderful console to use. You can switch between those games, and you can get them on Game Pass. You can play them cheap. You can play through loads of stuff. It is great entertainment. But if you are looking for fuel for arguments on Twitter, then you're having a bad time. Just not quite getting there.
I didn't to add to that, and I'll get to your super chats in a sec. We've had this fiasco with Baldur's Gate 3, which came out like apparently at one point people thought and assumed that Sony had money hats in this game and it wasn't coming out. Baldur's Gate, old classic game, is not coming out on Xbox. Why? And then there was some confusion, but now it's confirmed that there are tech issues that the developers are encountering with the Xbox consoles that's making split screen a problem. But people are pointing to the Series S for some reason. I don't see the developer pointing to it. I've seen people pointed to it. I even had Kotaku even mention Series S. Am I missing something? Has someone actually said that? Asa, do you know about this? Or Cole? Or
no, so
Blaze?
It was fairly reasonable speculation. So Larian came out and said that they're having trouble specifically with the co-op split screen. And I don't think it's an unreasonable assumption to say they're more likely having trouble with the Series S than they are the Series X. But this is speculation, and the developer has come out and said this isn't what we're saying at all. Stop putting words into our mouths. Shut up. Basically to the people that were having this conversation without the facts. It doesn't mean that it's not true. It could be the Series S that's holding them up, but that is not what the developer is saying. So
it's more likely an engine obstacle that they're coming up with on their game because they are trying to pour cold water over the exclusivity thing, or that they can't get the game to run. Like the Series S has a RAM limitation, but does the RAM limitation translate to a split screen co-op problem, Asa?
It definitely could. Like that's feasible.
But 8 gigs of RAM or something that the Series S I think has available, or 8, or I think
which is the
9.
minimum spec on the PC.
But games are so scalable, man. Like I feel like they I mean, even if they delay it, they could figure it out. Games are scalable, man. They're getting Hogwarts on the damn Switch, for God's sakes. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like
they said that they've got their best of their best on their team trying to overcome this problem that is super important to them, and they don't want to compromise to not have split screen co-op, even though you hear all these people yelling at the studio like, we don't need split screen co-op, just give us the game. So they must be running up into some big technical problems.
But the thing is, this is the Series S problem, though. No, we had Remedy say that to IGN, that they didn't like the Series S because there's another SKU to work on, and now that's potentially a massive headache that developers have to contend with because of this lower entry point console, which makes sense financially and on all of that. But tech-wise, it's already holding you back, potentially. Speculation. But, Blaze, you say, like, you're right. Look, everything is scalable. Baldur's Gate doesn't look... It looks like it run on mobile, but I mean, it's not exactly the most...
But I wanted to touch on that resolution thing. What if these games are like, if the Series X is running at native 4K and the PlayStation's at 1800p, I understand why, there might be differences in frame drops because, it's pushing native 4K. But when it's the same resolution, like Cole said, that's where the issue lies. But even if say they're not using mesh shaders and they're just using standard shaders,
Yeah.
the Xbox still should be outperforming it if you're looking at the tech inside. So like, there's no excuse. It's weird.
Well, that's the thing.
The raw
You
hardware
said
is there. Like,
Blaze
what's
said
going
it
on?
perfectly. Blaze and Digital Foundry said it for a while, like especially during the beginning of the generation. They're like scratching their heads, like, why is we shouldn't be seeing this? So I can understand why some Xbox fans say, well, it's because PlayStation's playing so that they have parity or they have an advantage. If that was true, why in the heck was the Xbox One X, which was way below the PS4 platform, was outperforming? And Asa pointed out this morning when we were talking, he's like, well, the Xbox One X was way more powerful than the Pro in comparison to what we have now, which they're so similar. But when you're looking at this Series X going, why is it dropping 10 frames when the PS5 is basically locked at 60?
Isn't Atomic Heart Xbox?
It's marketed by Xbox. This is where it kills the narrative.
Marketing has nothing to do with it. But another thing is Xbox, they need to start sending people out, or they need to start putting time and effort into the XDK and fixing the problems and finding out what the speed bumps and the bottlenecks in the process is going on with porting a game for Series X. But an S,
2 years in cold, it's not good enough. The fact that we're still talking about this is embarrassing for Xbox.
It's not. I think it's not going to happen. I think this is where it is, and this is how it's going to be. Because if I was going to step back and pretend to be Microsoft and Xbox, where they're pushing their platform everywhere, Series X and Series S are just 20 to 30 million consoles in the grand scheme of 3 billion players that they want to reach in the next few years or the next decade, and they kind of look at that. It's funny because like Randall Thor will say it. I'll say, why can't I do this with the game DVR? Why can't they just do this? This would be great. Yeah. And he's like, why would they care? Like the console is so small in the grand scheme of things. And we're seeing that pour over in the entire industry where we're moving and widening where and how we play, and our games go over almost anywhere we want to go. And I mean, Jim Ryan said it too. I'm frustrated with the console. He wants to sell to more than just 10 to 20 million people.
So that's why Blaze is on PC now.
Really small.
There's a resolution for that. No, I'm saying like if you got a problem with multi-platform, just play it on PC, and you don't got to worry about. And by the way,
I did that with Gotham Knights, Blaze. Played the whole thing on PC.
Well, the Gotham Knights was bad on PC too, but Digital Foundry took what, a month to cover Hogwarts because they didn't want to dabble in the controversy.
Yeah.
So during that time period, you didn't see anybody saying, "Oh, performance mode is running like crap on Xbox." Nobody said a word. No,
it didn't. They didn't. That's so true. That's such a good point.
No, but that's
such a good point.
They took so long to cover it. When they finally did, now all this controversy is spilling out. But the point is, like, nobody was saying a god. That's why we're like Digital Foundry has way too much influence on what we do and what we talk about. That's all I'm saying. I appreciate what they're doing, trust me. But it's
That's just a very good point. Everyone was enjoying the game. Everyone was like, oh, this is brilliant. And then the moment the Digital Foundry thing came up, the fanboys go, as they should though,
because when you come out and you're like, it eats breakfast and eats dinner and eats trash. Like, Cole, you gotta admit, Cole, come on, Cole. Like, you come out here with this, it eats a Series X for breakfast. Well, no, it doesn't. I think it throws it back up now. Like, what are we doing?
And that's why I respect you and Strict. You guys have got a lot of flack for like saying, "Oh, I'm playing on my PC," and they were like, "Oh no, you moved that way." And then you should.
Here's the other thing I don't talk about that much, but resolution won't matter as we move into the generation, start using DirectML, but super resolution. But one thing that we don't talk about is we've got these next generation revolutionary consoles, as Face said. They're revolutionary, and we're getting 60
do you have
FPS
issue with that?
I take issue with it because, for the most part, our 60 FPS gaming on a console that is 2 to 4 times more powerful than our last generation console is running games at basically 1080p 60 frames. And if you want ray tracing, you're at 30 frames. So that's been another like black eye that we've had to deal with, because I really thought that there would be enough power to run at 1440p high settings at 60. And I think we're getting close to medium to high settings on most games. And that's great, but the pixel count shouldn't matter that much. But when you load up a big AAA game and it's 1080p, and then like 4 months later, when we've already finished it, Guardians of the Galaxy, Dying Light 2, games like that, they're like, oh, now it's 1440p 60, and we've increased the shadow quality and all that stuff. And they're like, yeah, but we already played the game back September, and that ship has sailed. And this is the reality where devs can barely get a game out on time. Every game you've ever wanted to play has been delayed. Every single one of them has been delayed and will be delayed. And it'll run at 1080p 60 at launch, and it'll the frames will drop. It'll be great. But it's especially if you're on Xbox Series X, it'll drop 5 to 10 frames, for no reason. That's my other favorite part. When Digital Foundry's like, so you move over in this area, and for no reason, the frames drop. And they're like, there's no reason. And so my thing is like, okay, there's a bug. Where's the bug? Is it in the hardware, or is it in the XDK? Is it in what's in the pipeline that's causing the bug? Because PS5 smooth sailing and it has less power. So it's like, there you are again going, scratching my head. Maybe PlayStation's paying for the marketing. Clipped. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, because that's what people are saying, right? Oh, it must be PlayStation. They're paying for the. I'm like, no. It's the fault is on Xbox and Microsoft team. They need to fix it. And I don't know if they ever will.
They need to demand better. Like, hey, like, I don't listen. And then like the whole Returnal thing, like I was arguing with these, listen, they would call me all Blaze, just move over. You're not a PlayStation fan. Like, bro, if Returnal looks and runs better on PC, why are you mad? Like, it's still a PlayStation first party game. Like, what
Blaze, how much was your PC though, bro?
This one was like $4,500.
Okay, and you're comparing it to a $500 PS5. Now that's one of those things where people are like, look how good Returnal looks on PC. I'm like, yeah, but your PC wasn't $500, bro. Your GPU wasn't even $500 bucks.
But they should accept that. But that's what I'm saying.
I know.
They have to accept that. Like, bro, my GPU costs double of your PlayStation. It's just they accept that. That's all I'm saying.
I know.
Yeah, no, it's true. Yeah. Hey, so you were going to say something? Sorry, before.
I was only a little tangent. Colt mentioned, he was talking about what Rand was saying about Xbox and DVR, and like, why would they fix it with such a small audience? And I hear this, and I see the Xbox DVR capabilities, streaming capabilities, all the things that it does. And I wonder who the hell at Microsoft is making these decisions, because giving tools to content creators is how you market games for free.
Yes.
Right? What are they doing? Why is this so far behind PlayStation?
They're not. Well, they're not far behind PlayStation. That's the problem. Is everybody thinks that the PS5 is way more flexible and does some really cool stuff. They have a whole editing and production suite within the console. Xbox has none of that. But the Xbox DVR is higher quality, higher compression, and let's see, you can record up to an hour at 4K 60 SDR HDR, and it's a higher bit rate than all of the PlayStation modes. And you're in H.264 MP4 file format by default, which is not what you get on PlayStation. You have to use a third-party program to get it at 4K. I mean, I've messed with my PlayStation 5 down here and tried to bring footage up, and I'm like, oh man, this is a ball ache. But
it does record at 4K 60 though, right?
The PlayStation 5 does, yes, add an MKV file that you have to... Which
is a headache if you're a content creator.
No, it is. Yeah. But I mean, once it gets to YouTube, it's compressed anyway.
Yes, and it's at 25% less compression bit rate than the Xbox Series X and even Xbox One X.
You know what I don't like about Xbox?
You're at like 29 megabits per second on the Xbox Series X and 21 or 20 something for the PS5.
This to me, please. Why?
Yes, sir.
I have a capture card, but there's points where I'm like, I'm just gonna go. Why can't you stream to YouTube from Xbox? What's going on with that?
Google and Microsoft hate each other, and Google refuses to do them a solid. That's the end of the answer. That's it. That's exactly what's going on. YouTube or Google and YouTube do not give a flying crap about Microsoft. They're not going to throw them a bone.
I got a capture card anyway, but it's just weird. I'm like, why?
It's dumb. It's so dumb.
Yeah. Shout out to 540 people watching. Please smash that like button. I'm going to read your super chats. Easy E, the guy who was fooled by Colt Eastwood to buy his console. I doubt.
Buy another one.
He says, Colt, the problem isn't parity. It's hyperbole and the countless hours spent spreading FUD on the other console. I bought the X because of massive deltas.
Somebody was spreading FUD about the PS5 to him?
Well, I think
like
he's
what? You're worried it's going to catch on fire, or
there's a lot of RDX clips going on, and everyone was like, to be fair, it's hard to like ignore that when I was in the buzz and liquid metal making fun of this PlayStation 5. Like, this thing is coming in hot. We had some dev saying, "Oh, he's hearing from people in the background that they, things are coming in hard. They're not working that well."
I heard the same. We heard the same thing about Series X. Like it was going to catch on fire. People were vaping in it and stuff. And
yeah. I mean, so Space Nova Kid with a $5 super chat. Thank you. He says it's not that complicated. On a game parity environment, the high clocks always are going to win. PlayStation 5 already the de facto dev kit secures parity. I will say on this one point, and so we were talking about this. The common sense, one of the reasons why the PlayStation 5 is besting Xbox has to be this common sense approach. If you are a developer, you're going to focus on the console that has the biggest audience. Like, you cannot mess about with the PlayStation 5. It is a force. PlayStation is a force in this space. You saw, we'll talk about Brad Smith's little chart, but you saw that massive pie chart and the tiny little slice that was Xbox. Why? Look, we are content creators, right? Okay, obviously we try and fight. I seem to be fighting against the algorithm to make content I want, but still the allure is there. You want to get people to see your views. Comic book games. No one gives a. I still make that game over that video, but we like, all right, what is that? The algorithm is like, all right, we want to make Xbox content like this channel for something, because thanks to me, for some stupid reason being an Xbox. Now we have to, we're kind of sequestered into Xbox content, right? Which I'm trying to change to everything, but because we're GameOnDaily. But as a content creator, we have to feed our audience. As developers, you cannot ignore the PlayStation. Why would you spend time prioritizing Xbox's stuff in an environment where it's so expensive to develop games, and then you've got an audience, or like the vast majority are on PlayStation? So the primary common sense is like, right, let's just prioritize PlayStation. In addition to the tools that you talk about, they're easier to use. Xbox's tools are a headache. Plus, you've got two SKUs for the Xbox Series consoles. Like, it's a combination of things. It is the Series X is a more powerful console, full stop. Hardware, it's there. But the combination of these crap tools, or whatever it is, Xbox's fault, plus the PlayStation being so popular. As a developer, you'd be stupid to do anything else. So there's always going to be on the tools. We saw this with 360 and PlayStation 3, though, where PlayStation was still the big boy, but the tools, the cell processor on paper was so much more powerful, yet the Xbox was gaining steam because comparatively the tools were so much easier to use that the power difference didn't show until the tail end of that generation.
That's an architecture barrier, which we don't have now. So that kind of doesn't really work, but go ahead.
I missed that. I kind of missed that, though. I missed the unique hardware, and, like people are saying, you know what I love hearing people say, just give us some time and they're going to get used to these. Like, bro, they're maxing these consoles out. There's no secret sauce that's gonna, you know what I mean? Like, what
secret sauce? Oh wow, blast from the past for the Xbox One.
Thanks for the hat.
Secret sauce. T Mang Fu, thank you with the $5 super. She goes 12 teraflops, greater than 9.2 teraflops. World's most powerful console. Delta eats monsters for breakfast. Xbox market leader. Clowns hashtag respectfully. I don't think you know the meaning of the word respectfully, if that's directed at anyone, but maybe you're talking about Microsoft. Phase 23, Brooklyn, New York. Thank you again for the generous $20 super chat, because this gen is like actually he's just saying the same thing I did. It's like the PS3 and 360 gen. The PS5 is less powerful, easier to develop for. Series X more powerful, harder to develop for. That's what I was alluding to, and I agree with you, Face. And whether or not, can we say, okay, Asa, do you think this generation will see it switch up as time goes on, like we did with the PlayStation 3, and it started to eke out on performance?
So do I think that, and does it matter? There's a strong argument that after a certain point, it's not even a win if it does switch around, because these consoles have a limited lifespan. If you think of it in terms of, like, you want to put these consoles one against the other, you can almost score it by rounds. If the PlayStation is more performant for the first 3 years, and then the Xbox trumps it at the end of it, is that really a win? Like, they're the best, the golden years of the consoles are when you've got those first 3 years, really. So
exactly.
So it's a difficult one, because my expectation from the off was that I've always been very dismissive of full RDNA 2 and the missing features and all the rest of it, but always said that the Xbox should broadly perform, like according to people don't like to talk about teraflops as being relevant, but they are a bit relevant when you've got such similar architecture. And I expected the performance differential to sit around there, with some of it gained or lost depending on like how good PlayStation's API is and all the rest of it. As it's playing out, I think my gut feeling, based on zero evidence besides performance of games, is that DirectX 12 is a bit of a hindrance. So unless we move on with a bold new revision of that, no, I don't think it's going to switch around in any dramatic way. It's weird because we had PlayStation 5 spent the first year like mostly ahead in comparisons, and then we had about a year where it looked like the Xbox was clawing back ahead, and there were a fair few games that came out with a higher resolution on the Xbox, performing broadly the same, like Hitman 3, that kind of era, where suddenly they're like, oh, this is actually lining up with the numbers now. And then for some reason it's flipped again. I don't know what it is this year, why it's flipped. It could just be that these 4 games are 4 closely packed anomalies, and actually maybe the Xbox will get back to having that higher resolution as we go. But I don't know, if you were to ask me, like, if there was a big game, if you say, I don't know, not Suicide Squad, because people will bring up the whole marketing nonsense, but a big game that's coming out later on this year across both consoles, and you were to make me bet money on which one was going to perform above the other one, I would be hard pressed to pick.
Yeah,
and it shouldn't be the case, but it is.
It is, and that's embarrassing. So the Xbox, fix up, because that's so embarrassing. You marketed it as the world's most powerful console. That's now misrepresentation as far as I'm concerned. I don't care if no, it's just shit. And Xbox fans, you should be demanding better instead of concocting excuses to excuse Microsoft.
or conspiracy theories.
Conspiracy theories. If you genuinely believe that's fine.
I got blamed for the conspiracy theory. Gaz, did you think I was a part of that conspiracy theory? Because this morning, like you're kind of arguing with me. I'm like, I didn't
no,
say
I was
that,
like, why did you bring that up? Why did you? Because the way you said it, people like, he doesn't want to rely on that point, but he brings it up like it. I'm not saying it is, but this gentleman said it, and even though you actually ended it with, I don't believe that, but people like,
yeah, I mean, it's worthy of discussion, but I mean, I thought it's been ridiculous for a while, and I remember. A long time ago, when I was like months ago, when this ABK stuff came up, and they were saying it's right here in this line item. I think it was even on your guys' show, and Asa was like, and Asa and I were talking about it because I was like, there's no way that they would do that, and Asa's like, no, that's not what technical. Remember, it was technical parody, Asa, and you were correcting everybody about the technical parody, and I completely dismissed it after that, and that was like, I don't know, half a year ago or something, but.
I'm still talking about that. Peter Morland, I'm not promoting a class action lawsuit against Microsoft. Don't put words in my mouth. Daddy Passion Official, 3 months with my PC, and he's loving it. Thank you for the super chat. A lot of people are moving to PC, and they are loving it because they're trying to get this hardcore performance, guys. You strictly gaming, they're enjoying the PCs. You put serious money in it. So yeah, shout out Tony Kami in chat. Fun speculation with the $2 super chat. 550 people here, only 150 people likes. Hit the like button. What the Come on, people. If you are enjoying it, then you should hit the like button. Absolutely. Hit the like button. It helps us out a lot. Mr. Eldrick with a $10 super chat. Can you ask Blaze what that screen is showing the game logos? Where did you buy it?
Oh, that is it's called the Pixio 64, and you can add any GIF you want, like you can create your own, you can add anything, GIFs, Xbox, anything you can think of, you can add, and it'll.
Fonz has that. Yeah.
Does he? I've had the little one for a long time, but
the little one, yeah.
My girlfriend bought me this one for Christmas, but it's awesome. You see Horizon, you can put anything you want on there. It's cool. You can have the time, you can have the scores of NFL games, and it updates. It's
oh wow!
Yeah. Can you put GIFs of me like dry humping a picture of Gaz?
If you have that, I can do it. If you can send it to me, I'll add it right now.
I mean, I don't have that. I don't think. Asa, is that the one I sent you?
No, you definitely have got that.
You guys got the real video for that, or?
I can get you that one too.
Cool.
C4 Skills says
What's up?
No, because Colt, listen.
Yeah.
Money can buy anything, right?
Yeah, it can.
Okay, so that
That's why I'm here.
That little New Vegas thing you got, I need it.
Oh, bro, hold on.
You were showing this to me earlier because he's redoing his little office space.
My lord, where are you getting this?
I made it.
What?
You made it?
Yeah. In fact, let me show you something else. Hold on a second. I know you can't hear me very well. Give me a second.
No, you can. We can hear you.
Good.
Oh my gosh, wake up, phone.
Don't tell me
Let me put the light on it.
No fucking way, dude.
Light on it? I can't see anything apart from reflections.
He's just shining. He's shining the light on it. No.
It's reflective. Yeah, you can't tell. Well, unless I turn the lights off.
Oh, okay.
So I have a friend that works in big graphic stuff, big print. Friend. And he printed that on a big piece of aluminium. And then it's reflective vinyl. And then I took it out.
Aluminium.
Yeah. And then I took it out and shot it with my handgun. And then asked my buddy for a bunch of rifle casings because he shoots big rifles. Glued them to that. Got some poker chips and all that stuff. And put it together. And it's probably going to go back here when I get everything set up.
You should.
Yeah.
It looks good.
That's awesome.
So I'm not allowed to say the other pronunciation of the metal element in front of Asa and Gaz. I have to call it aluminium. So
aluminium. Easy with the $2 super chat. Can you cash app me $500? Hashtag respectfully. To refund him for the broken dreams you sold him. I think the answer for that will be no.
Give it a year.
Just wait. Just wait a little longer.
So this one, apparently, this is leaked. Mortal Kombat 12 is releasing this year. And that was leaked. What, Tekken, Street Fighter 6, and Mortal Kombat 12 this year. Do you really think Mortal Kombat is going to come out this year? Because I don't think that's going to be the case. Did anyone see this? Does anyone care? Nobody cares. Fine. You bastards. You fake gamers.
Funny, isn't it? Like, it's like
the Mortal Kombat. Can I read part of this DM to you?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I popped my eyes out when I read this, but I'm going to stay on the side of I don't believe it, okay? Because it sounds like X-Files type stuff. Are you ready for this?
Who sent you that DM, though?
I can't tell you, but Gaz, I can tell you off the air. I'm going to quote, this is not coming from me. This is coming from this DM, so take it with a big grain of salt, okay? Microsoft behind closed door laid down how Sony is having clauses where third-party games have a top-of-the-line console performance. The PS5 spec also, sometimes Sony asks devs not to optimize until the wave of internet comparisons are done.
Block that person immediately. Do not let them DM you again.
I mean, could you imagine if PlayStation was just like, don't really optimize the Xbox version. Just wait till Digital Foundry's done with it. You know.
If that were the case, I think Microsoft would know. They would leverage this in this whole lawsuit because they've been airing their dirty laundry and straining to find any excuse to hate on each other.
I don't think you could do that without it breaking into the public knowledge and being a lawsuit.
Hey, Fonzarelli, send me a tinfoil hat, Fonzarelli, please. I feel really.
Oh man, look, if that was the case in this widespread, you think that wouldn't leak out? There's no way. And if it does, Sony have a pretty shitty practice. They have done some pretty notorious things. It's not out of the realm of possibility. Competition could do that, but I don't think Sony care that much to do that. It's a
they don't need to.
Yeah, they don't need to.
They sell plenty of multi-plat games. It's just it just kind of goes along with the whole situation where they're just worried about the multi-plat games that Xbox might start acquiring, but everybody's going to make money off of those.
The only way Microsoft and Xbox can save face here with the power narrative, there's only one way they can do that. If the third-party things is a wash, their first-party games have to be incredible. They have to be the best-looking games, and they need to come up in conversation as these are the best-looking games. If the first parties can't do that, and it looks like they could potentially do that, then there is some saving grace here. Because whilst multi-plats will perform better on PlayStation, it's going to be just like the PS3 gen, like when Metal Gear Solid 4, like people were like, what's better on Xbox? The Last of Us, one at a time. What was better? That is where
maybe they'll address it with the mid-gen refresh.
No. I hope there's no mid-gen refresh.
I hope there is.
Yeah. Randy says his super chat didn't show up. I can't see it, bro. But yeah. this topic is a big one. Yeah, even though as much as we say we hate talking about the ABK deal, big shit has happening. Like Microsoft is now either desperate or clever or smart, but it is doing, in my opinion, what it needs to, but in some bits a bit weak. I don't even know why this 10-year thing is a thing. But Microsoft this week has confirmed it has signed a 10-year deal with Nintendo to bring Call of Duty to it. Obviously, that's a contractual thing. It's not a statement of intent. It's a conditional contract. So the condition being the deal goes through. The Call of Duty is going to come on Nintendo Switch, which, well, I'll ask a couple of questions on that. But Blaze, what does that mean for Call of Duty, bro? Like, why is your screen frozen?
I think I'm frozen. Am I frozen?
Yeah, you are frozen.
Huh? I was going crazy. I'm like, wait, am I moving?
I'm just remembering that Madonna song. But yeah, would you want to fix that or just stay frozen and tell us?
No. Just maybe go to somebody else. Let me fix it.
Okay. All right, fine. So, Colt, like Call of Duty, people are worried. Like in Microsoft's offering Call of Duty to Nintendo, a lot of detractors are saying you're just hurting Call of Duty now, because now Call of Duty has to be catered for this shitty old school Nintendo Switch console. Like,
don't be stupid. Don't be stupid. Nintendo has another console they're ready to announce very, very soon. Don't be dumb. Come on, people, when you say that. How's it gonna run on the Switch? Oh my gosh, it's so hot in here. My Switch doesn't run it. Yeah, it's like, no, come on. You think the Switch is gonna run forever? Like, holy crap, they're on 5 years now. Like, there's a replacement coming soon. Yeah, I mean, you have to look in the eventuality. You're looking 10 years in the future. They're like, hey, and I said this like on another show. Hey, we want to bring Call of Duty to Nintendo platforms. And Nintendo's like, all right, don't tell anybody, but, we are working on new hardware. And Microsoft's like, duh, of course you are. You have to think in the future, like not next Call of Duty, the one after that, or maybe the one after that. And of course, they're going to be on board because Nintendo's going to make a bunch of money. Xbox is going to make a bunch of money. Yeah, so... Was there something else you want to ask me besides Nintendo's never going to make another console?
Well, yeah, absolutely, it will do. But before that, some people are saying they're super chatting. Asa, can you do me a favor? If you do see the super chats, because they're not coming up on my screen.
I'm not seeing them either.
I'm not seeing them either. Chat, is anyone seeing super chats on the screen? Because I don't think
I haven't seen one in a bit. But somebody said it might be a YouTube problem. Randy G said, "I'm going to refresh this tab."
I've refreshed it a few times and it's not coming up. So sorry, chat. If that's the thing, I can't avoid it.
Gaz, go to your Creator Studio part of your Xbox tab and go to your monetization tab, and you'll be able to see the supers from newest to oldest.
Smart, that's smart, Cole. That's
monetization tab in your Creator Studio of YouTube. If I said Xbox, I don't know why.
We know why. You got Xbox.
Yeah.
Analytics and then monetization or dashboard.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't want to. You go into customize channel from your page, and then you scroll down on the left and go to. It used to be under analytics.
Look at guys' troubleshooting face.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. No, it's under earn on the left, on the far left nav, under top right, earn, and then go to supers, which is in the middle of the page on the top. Welcome to technical support with Cold Eastwood.
It's not coming through. The last one, actually, I do see it. It's easy Cash App super chat. Your chat's not going through, gents, but we can't see it. But on that point of Nintendo and Call of Duty,
it's not showing up. Okay, what were you going to ask me?
Well, I was going to ask. Well, I'll move the question to the gents. Blaze, are you worried about Call of Duty on the Nintendo Switch going to hold back COD because of this deal? Do you care?
No, I think it's good for Nintendo, but I think if Nintendo wants, I'm curious to see how Call of Duty is going to run on a Switch. But I don't care. This whole Activision deal, man, just please somebody make a decision and do something at this point. It doesn't. If it affects you, that's because you're a one console gamer, and I understand.
Yeah,
oh my gosh, that was so brilliant that you said that. That was so brilliant.
Well, it affects us, and I play on everything. I love it. Thank you, Bubba, for the test of $2. It works. So whoever was lying in the I'm sure you had sincere problems, but we can't see the super chats. Nintendo's 10-year deal. What does that mean for PlayStation though? Because now, isn't that Acer taking a big chunk of the ammo away in conjunction with Nvidia? Now, all Xbox PC games will be coming to cloud service Nvidia GeForce Now, and miraculously, Nvidia now support the deal. Cloud nascent market argument and a big chunky PlayStation argument.
So
on
there's
COD.
a couple of things. They've made 2 good points on 2 out of the 3 arguments there. So Nvidia, they're addressing the cloud market, cloud streaming competitors kind of issue. With Nintendo, they're obviously addressing Call of Duty, the console space. Those are significant and will help them to some degree. You also, I try and remind people that 10 years is a long time. So these contracts are 10-year contracts. 10 years ago, Xbox had Don Matrix at the helm. So a lot can change in 10 years. It doesn't necessarily
What did you say, Don? What?
Don Matrix at the helm. Like this was the dark times for Xbox. Like a lot can change in 10 years. So it doesn't necessarily answer every questions in like regards to those space. But you can't necessarily ask for more than 10 years, right? It's at least it's time for those competitors to respond to the acquisition. So it goes a long way to answering those 2. But it doesn't go anywhere towards answering the cloud, the multi-game subscription services, which is a big one. I actually think if they were being really savvy, they might have offered to put Call of Duty on like Ubisoft or EA's service or something like that to tick that box. But they have not answered that one. So that's the one that I think if they're looking to like stick something in and say this isn't good enough, it will be the multi-game subscription thing where they haven't really offered any concession, because that's not what the Nvidia service is. Nvidia service lets you stream games that you've bought.
But okay. Yeah, but do you think where do you think the deal stands with that? Do you think Brad Smith was holding the contract?
Stop asking me this damn question every week. Yeah, I don't.
He was holding the contract.
Do you know what? I much prefer the way that Sony have handled and carried themselves throughout this whole thing, because they won't bloody say anything. Oh, man. Yes. Rather than riling up their Twitter fans to like send their letters to regulators. What is this big PR campaign? Just shut the fuck up and get on with it behind closed doors. Tell us when it's done or not.
Hug. You have a man of the cloth in here.
Yeah, you Xbox guys, stop following Jim Ryan's flight circles and flight simulator.
Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Keep doing it.
In Flight Simulator.
Follow him around, bro. He's in Brazil.
I have a Jim Ryan tracker on my phone, and it just like has this little emoji going around, his little Bitmoji. Yeah, I have him followed on Snapchat.
Well, people up here. Okay, so look, things are hotting up. There's a lot of tension, and then Lulu Massave, the head chief, Activision, got a lot of flack from the media. And the moment the deal looked like it was about to go through the media, some journalistic media outlets were very intolerant of in my opinion, well, I'll say it in plain English, it looked like these biased little ponies were mad. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, I say it. It's true. Like Lulu Massave caused beef. She called out Christopher Dring and said, and other journalists, and saying people should, and other people were like, you should conduct yourself better, because she put a meme with the guy in the cycle and like the Sony guy, like, and then puts a stick between the bike and he falls. He goes, why did I
cried so hard over that little tame meme. That really upset them. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So can you explain this? Slow down a little. So what's going on again? Say this again.
So Lulu Massave, she
get it right, Gaz, or she will send you a letter.
She was in my DMs actually. She's added me now, but she's lovely. I like her.
She is.
And a lot of people like Lulu Massave. She's the EVP Corporate Affairs and CCO at Activision Blizzard. No small appointment there. She's been taking this thing like very to heart, and she's not holding back. So Blaze, you will see she put a meme of basically, I'm looking at it now, Sony and the bike. The guy puts a stick between the wheels and it says refuses to accept guaranteed long-term access to COD. And then the guy's falling on the floor because what if we lose COD?
How old is this individual? Shame on her.
She's shame on her. Let her. How many times, Blaze, do you see these plastic VR like PR people always talking that? Well, we believe in the general. Oh, Brad Smith, all these other people, and now you got someone who feels fiery. He's like, nah, I'm not having it enough. The staff want this. I said, I love it. I
think it's
the
super
source.
childish of her. Shame on her.
Shame on her. What?
No, honestly, say what you want, man. I don't, if anybody's mad about a meme, I mean, really.
Yeah.
If you're mad about a meme, get off Twitter. Like, go, like, uninstall it forever. Yeah, I mean, Twitter is 98% memes and then FUs. That's all it is.
It's true.
Cole, you know how many times Cole almost gets me? Some of Cole's tweets almost trigger me to respond. I'm not doing it.
That's what he does.
You know what he
That's what he does. He
What
does
I
on
see from
purpose.
Cole said, this might be Xbox's year, 2023, and I'm like, and I was like,
He does it on purpose.
But he's good at that. He's the master of the masters.
Well, I'm doing two things. I'm celebrating the things that I'm excited about, but it's also, you know what, Gaz, you're off the show. You're done. I do two things. So, Angel on the shoulder. I'm just talking about what I'm excited about, what I'm celebrating. The other one is the devil, where I am finding a mute farm for people who have Xbox intolerance. Like, they start to itch here when they hear about Xbox positivity. Oh gosh. And then they're like, I can't help it. And then they have to insult me, and then I'm like, and mute, because that's an unreasonable person that becomes unhinged. Blaze is like, he almost had me there. It's cool. I'm gonna move on with my life. And people are like, Cole's just passive aggressive. It's like, you're just a beta male, bro.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh shit.
The mute button is the best button on Twitter.
It is.
Better than blocking, because they just talk to themselves.
That's true. I should use that.
They'll go blah 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 blah. Send, and then no likes, no reply, no retweet. Yeah, it just goes on forever.
Cole, I need to listen. Cole, listen, man. Okay, can we talk about this? I have more Xboxes than you. Do you know that?
No, I don't think you do, actually.
How many Xboxes you got?
Xbox original, 2 Xbox 360s, Xbox One X, Xbox One X White Robot, Taco Bell Edition, Series X, Series S, Series S, 8. How am I doing?
That's really good. I think I got 7. All right, you got me.
Well, why would you bring that up?
Because I think Cole views me one way, and that's okay, Cole. Listen. I've had a dirty, naughty past, okay? But
I like you, bro. I do like you because you keep it real, and you're a reasonable guy. Like, you don't fly off the handle. Like, there's some people who like their head comes off, and then fire comes out of their neck. But
everybody gets there. But what I'm trying to say is, I buy everything, Cole. I have the Halo Edition Series X. I have the normal edition Series X. I have the Scorpio Edition. I got the Gears of War Scorpio One X. I got the green Mountain Dew original Xbox. I got the black Xbox. I got the Gears of War 360. I got a black 360. You know what I mean? So I just don't want you to... You know what I mean? I play Xbox games. Yes, I like PlayStation exclusives. Dude,
I pay attention to what you say. Like, I wouldn't be on here if you were a psychopath. I mean, that's Gaz's job.
Listen, I just want you to understand that unlike other Sony fanboys, they might have an Xbox, but it's just there for argument. I'm excited for certain Xbox games. That's all I'll say to you. Yeah, PlayStation still makes the better game. Sorry. But, seriously, I can't wait for the next Gears. I'm excited for the Forza. It is what it is. I like to play games that I like to play. It don't matter where they're at. Everybody has a preference. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I've never tried to be neutral at all. Yeah, I tell people that I'm first and foremost an Xbox fan. I'll play on PC a little bit, playing PS5, but yeah, it's just like was where I'm at, where you're always at, and everyone has to have. They want a flag to wave like on the battlefield, right? They get out there and they do
flag the wave.
It's the smart. Listen, if you want to grow on YouTube and Twitter, it's beneficial for you to pick a side and stick with it. Neutral gamers don't grow. That's the truth.
Well, Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not neutral, but yeah, like people play the game.
Well, are you growing, Gaz?
What, down there? Yeah.
Oh, Gaz. You're a bot, Gaz.
Because I'm not.
I'm a bot. 100%. I'm an Xbox guy. You think Yeah, who doubts that still? I mean, people on ecstasy like he's a secret pony. I don't even play PlayStation that much, man. I've got God of War. Something about God of War has not pulled me enough to play that game. I'm playing other games.
You haven't played God of War?
Ragnarok, I enjoyed it, but something's missing, unlike 2018, that really needed to pull me back. And I haven't. I don't know why, but I will go back.
I know. I'm halfway through it, and I can't remember what came out, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to move on to this.
Dead Space Remake and Hi-Fi Rush I completed before that. Wolong I'm going to complete.
No, you've had plenty of... Listen, man.
I know.
I need to play it. I know, but it's something about it. It's not pulling me.
You know what it was? It pulled us away, guys.
Yeah.
You want to fraudulate ourselves?
Please do.
It was Vampire Survivor.
Oh, yeah.
It was crack. It was like taking crack and pouring more crack on top of it, and then making a crack sandwich was what we were with Vampire Survivor. Like I remember we were like, aren't we supposed to be playing Ragnarok right now? Or like, and then that game's so amazing.
I get it. God of War was great, but it just hasn't happened yet. Because then you got Dead Space.
Would you have loved Vampire Survivor if it wasn't on Game Pass? Probably not. Moving.
I like probably wouldn't have played it. I wouldn't have played it.
Might
it was
not
like
found it
anyway. Yeah, I might not have found
Gaz got a list of Sony games, and when he told me he hasn't complete, I really, because if you look at me, I beat Halo Legendary. Yeah. I have 300 hours on Halo Infinite. You know, I'm just saying, guys, you're looking.
Yeah.
I know I'm looking sus. I just can't. I have to force myself to get peptic ulcer to play those. It's not even like they're not bad games. Like Returnal, because it was so good. One of my best games this generation. Yeah. And I completed it in like one sitting, or like I just finished it. I was hooked. I was playing that nonstop, and that's the kind of game. Now I'm after Wolong. I'll play Sekiro because that's made me realize what I'm missing without breaking boggers, which I haven't signed to. Boba Fett gave me, thank you for the $2 super chat. At least leave me with the phone jacked. I don't know what that means, Bubba. And Sith Lord, thank you, man, for being a member. He goes, good to see you guys. I'm not ready for Monday night. Why is playing acting like a child when it comes to the deal? Well, Sony, they definitely aren't making me want a PlayStation 5. I mean, that shouldn't affect your buying habits, Sith, I think. Like, the Sony execs are doing what they want.
So I don't agree with this person saying that Sony don't deserve custom for the way that they're responding to this deal, but I do absolutely agree that if you don't like a way a company is behaving, then by all means, rescind your support. Don't buy their console if you don't like what they're doing in the space.
Asa, what is so... Listen, if we look, say we fast forward 10 years from now, right? And Xbox owns Activision now, right? And let's say Activision and Call of Duty goes down the drain, usually like what happens when Xbox purchases any studio. No, honestly, but like Sony has to have some, they got to fight against this a little bit just because you don't know what's going to happen 10 years from now. Like, what about if we're looking at it and there's a big monopoly and Xbox... There's Xbox symbols everywhere, and they own the world. And we're looking like, damn, why didn't we stop this?
How do we get here?
United States took so long to get into World War II, And what about if they didn't? We'd all be speaking German right now. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying Xbox is the Nazis. I'm just saying that, like,
well, I mean, he did.
I kind of no, I know. But there has to be some sort of resistance here. That's all I'm saying. PlayStation's a big player, and I just feel like this is the biggest deal in entertainment history. Like, this ain't just a little. This is the biggest deal. So there's got to be some eyeballs. But at the end of the day, honest to God, I don't care what happens. I just want to move on from this whole thing. If Microsoft owns it, cool. If we get it for 10 years, cool. If it's only on Xbox,
How about this, Blaze? How about, let's say in 5 years from now, Bungie puts out Destiny 3, and it is like, oh man, this is what we've been waiting for. Okay. Now that would be a big moneymaker for PlayStation. So in 5 years from now, if Xbox owns Call of Duty, it'll be the exact same thing.
You're saying if Destiny was an exclusive, Destiny 3.
No. If it would be a multiply, because Bungie said that they're not going to make exclusives for PlayStation, as far as we know, as far as their intention. So in 5 years from now, if Destiny 3 comes out and like this is finally the Destiny, and I mean, they're already super popular anyway, it would be a big moneymaker for PlayStation on all platforms, so to speak. In 5 years from now, Blaze, Call of Duty will be the exact same thing. A big juggernaut of a game on Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, and PC, and it'll be a big money maker for Xbox.
I agree.
So that money reciprocates back, and hopefully, like as both of those platforms get bigger, they can build bigger games or buy another studio with that money. So I think that's really what you're looking at, and that's why regulars need to stop looking at what's going to happen to PlayStation, what's going to happen to this. They need to look at the consumers and the competition in the market and say, this is good. Competition drives better prices and it drives better value for consumers. I think that's where we're at.
Destiny is not Call of Duty.
Comparable to COD. Yeah,
it's popular. It has a lot of players, has a loyal fan base, but Cole,
what does it make in comparison?
I don't know.
People play it like crazy, but I don't. Is it not? It's not driven by microtransactions, which Call of Duty has that over them as well.
They have microtransactions. They do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
God.
But then again, if you want to make. Yeah, and if you want to make that, you're like, oh no, Xbox is going to make a crap ton of money on Call of Duty. Like, well, finally, Xbox is going to start making a lot of money and have a big profit margin where they haven't over 20 years. They've always been this small segment of the market making only so much, even with the big juggernaut like Halo as it was the first 10 to 15 years when Bungie was running it. They were making a bunch of money, but they were always behind the PlayStation. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
With four or five studios?
It doesn't change anything. The only thing to me, it's maybe I should make a video that no one will watch on this. But I've seen this.
This is the conversation.
Yeah, if you had one video,
no one will watch.
One video didn't perform for him, and he's crying for the last week. One video.
One video. I don't think the videos we get. What 4.5K for a source video where I did a rap video. How long it took to edit it? 4.5K. I can get more on my Facebook stories. That's a piss take. YouTube, you suck. You want me to do shorts? Suck my. Maybe I'll do that. Moneybag97 with the $2 super checkers. Look, Apex. Who knows what the next FPS is in the next 10 years? I completely agree. I think that all that will change. And Call of Duty, when the deal goes through, Microsoft will make it biannual. Then you won't even see that many CODs anyway. But Microsoft will rely on Call of Duty to recover the money. But ultimately, this gen. Now, PlayStation is murking Xbox. The sales are pretty mad. They are pretty mad, like in favor of PlayStation, like 3-1. Like this is crazy. Xbox is doing well in its own right, but as far as competition is concerned, it's getting murked.
Every game always falls, right? Like who would have thought Battlefield would fall from the graces of everybody? Like there's nobody.
Yeah,
but it's so like long. Call of Duty will not fall. It's the one game that's always been consistently a top seller, no matter what. Even the worst Call of Duties are some of the best selling games of all time. So my thing is like it's never that they've had this run of 20 years, damn near, and they don't drop off. Like, but every other game eventually falls. Like, look at all the big games; they will eventually take a hit and fall. It's crazy.
Yeah, we said before, it's not even just that. Like, it's not even the case that you can make a better game and supplant Call of Duty, because there have been better games and they do not supplant Call of Duty. So it's just, it is a powerful IP that I don't like. I don't play it, but obviously millions of people do.
You can't deny the power of COD, but I don't think it's being made such a big meal out of it. Genuinely, you might say, oh, you're Xbox, you're at Xbox, that's why you would always say. But I'm generally disappointed in the way PlayStation. I think for me, that has damaged their rep, in my opinion. The way I see them, the way they conducted themselves, they were so little, like just flying out there. Jim Ryan, like not even sitting on the same table. Like tactically, that this is the extent to which you want to go, and you're a market leader and you beat your chest. We are the strong ones, and you can't even answer your phone calls because you're so threatened by Call of Duty. What does that mean? Like, you always tout your first party studios in your games, and you're crying about COD, which you've been available for 10 years. We've got Brad Smith waiving the contract, and he says, you know what? It's still open. You want to add some clauses, which makes Microsoft look so weak. Like, we will do whatever you want. And it's just like, everyone's looking shit in this whole deal.
Yeah, but guys, aren't you sick of Microsoft backing up their money truck like beep, beep, beep? Yeah, we need that shooter. Here you go. Thank you.
Nope. I'm not sick of it.
Microsoft is they want to resolve shit by throwing money at a screen and just say,
Blaze,
hey,
what do you want him to do? You want him to sit with 4 studios and make Gears, Halo, Forza, Gears, Halo, Forza, Gears, Halo, Forza?
No, I'm not. No, and I like all 3. I'm not sick of none of them.
I like those games too,
but you guys you guys got Bethesda, you guys got Doom.
We got ZeniMax.
You guys got Doom. You got the next Wolfenstein. Are you kidding me? Like, you want to swap? Hey, no. You guys give us id Software, and you can take literally pick.
Naughty Dog, fine.
I don't want any of those.
Well, see,
I'll take Naughty
Dog. Blaze, would you give me Naughty Dog for it? You want to trade? We're playing trading cards now. Would you give me Naughty Dog for it?
No, Gaz, no, I'm not signing off on
Blaze,
that.
what happened, Brett?
No, I'm not doing
what?
No.
Never mind.
No, man.
Forget it. The money
Blizzard thing isn't even. It's basically, you guys should know better than anyone else. ABK is basically only giving you Call of Duty, Overwatch, and Diablo. What else is there?
Candy Crush.
Like Blizzard's working on a new survival game.
Well, Candy Crush is big, but
all those studios aren't doing anything. The heydays of the Cybertron games for Transformer, gone. The heyday of all those studios making games, gone. They're all even have the Toys for Bob team going, what do you want us to do on Call of Duty? Oh, we're making trees. Okay.
Wow.
So don't worry about what Xbox is doing. Those games, I think all of those games from ABK, all of them, but maybe 2 in the next 10 years, will be multi-plat. So nobody's losing anything. They're taking it away. Now the Blizzard, the Bethesda stuff. Yeah. PlayStation guys aren't getting Fallout 5. They're not getting Elder Scrolls 6. They're not getting Starfield. Huge. They're not getting Doom Resurgence, whatever it's going to be called.
Good. Thingy in chat, Edgelord says, how does Microsoft make this better? I'll tell you how it makes it better. Look at Activision. Look at Diablo. The thing is fucked. Even the staff members saying, no, they're going to crunch. They're going to take out features from the game. Who's going to change that? Who could potentially change that? Who's going to potentially, even if Bobby Kotick gets his payout,
who's going to come in and say, don't worry, we don't need to release games on Xbox. Yeah.
Yes. You expect Microsoft to improve a studio when they can't even run their own.
Well, who else is going to do it? Else is good? Tencent? Sony can't afford it. No matter how many rim jobs like they give, there's not going to afford to be. They get a loan. They got everything.
Sony's the master. Bro, we stole Insomniac. We literally stole them for a Happy Meal.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got Insomniac.
That Insomniac was what, 300 million or something?
Yeah.
It was like a value menu meal.
Yeah.
That's unreal. That seems amazing.
No one else in this space. Amazon?
No, you're right. You're right. And Apple, you know what? If it has to go to Apple, Amazon, Google, like, I'd rather go to Microsoft. 100%. At least they've been
already.
Yeah.
And I know what you're saying. Like, don't Google that, Boba Fett. Microsoft, the jury's out on how they handle their first party because it's shit so far. But that might change. The jury's out. We'll see it this summer as well. If it's not there, we will lose a lot of subs. But
we've been seeing delays, but I've already shown you that Xbox and PlayStation's first party, review scores are almost very similar, very, very similar.
That's
so. As far as the handling, look at what they. You can say you could use the outlier, but 343. It's like, yeah, what a mess! Like we've never seen anything like that. And look at Xbox; they're basically out there like firing all of their leadership and slapping people around until they get things in order. So
finally,
they should have done that a long time ago.
Cole, who do you value Xbox first party? Like who do you put up there as a top tier? The
Coalition. The Coalition is one of the greatest. They're one of the greatest studios as far as visual impact and just amazing control and behind the controls. They're incredible. Gaz and I are really mad that they're doing Gears 6 when they should be doing the Alpha Project or Project whatever it was.
I'm so happy they're doing Gears. I can't wait to see Gears running on. I keep saying this.
If they change it, if they
make it open world, right, Gaz?
No open world.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad with the
No, we have this vision for what Gears is. Maybe another video.
Gears,
that no one watched.
We have different visions. I want an exploratory open world with Gears Tactics level gear that you can explore and find and level up your character and have faster fire rate, bigger magazines.
Cool.
That's an RPG now. How you change it?
Yeah, an action RPG third-person shooter in a slightly open world. That's actually, you
my
can go
God.
anywhere. But Gaz wants.
Disgusting.
I can't
I'm
read if this is a
surprised
joke or
it's
not.
It's
Cole,
linear.
tell me this is like you're doing a bit.
He's being serious.
doing it.
No.
He's being serious about this.
No. I actually want that, but I also want what Gaz wants is a horror, dark, deep, mature, linear game.
That's what
Bloody
But I also want I want dark and mature, no matter what. Shut up, Gaz. You're off the show. I'm out of here.
Moneybag with the $2 super chat goes, Sony fans should be happy that Microsoft is spending big to compete. I agree with you. Like, what do you want? So you could play. See, this is the thing, and everyone's like, Phil Spencer should be fired. Any reason why ex-PlayStation fans say that is because they hate Phil Spencer because he saved Xbox. That's one thing. And finally, when Microsoft decides to compete, even if it's buying ABK, did you buy Overwatch? Do you care about Overwatch? We got Overwatch 1.3. Do you think that will help? Microsoft, Phil Spencer has already said that with ABK, he wants to revisit a lot of dormant IPs that didn't come. And I made a video on how many games you can get. Prototype might come back. Oh, there's so many little dormant IPs ABK shat the bed on that can come back. And Microsoft will explore that because they need to stretch out that 70 billion. And the only way they will do that is beyond COD. World of Warcraft, as crazy as it sounds, on console, like if they make it work, Microsoft would seriously consider it because I guarantee you that will spike the numbers, even if it's for a short period of time. That's a big deal. Comparative cost of doing that. Look, so many games. StarCraft. Why could they go and do? I got a video on this channel. Let's just watch it. But there's so much. What's the alternative? What's the alternative with ABK? Tell me, chat and ponies in chat, or any hardcore, anti-ABK consolidation. What happens? You carry on with the shit management.
If they don't get bought, you're telling me there'll be turmoil. I mean,
It's already turmoil, bro.
Yeah.
Like over Diablo, fuck. It looks so good, but they're cutting out content already. They're saying they're gonna have to cut out content for this June release. They're saying that, and they're like, we're screwed. The developers are out there and publicly in Twitter saying that. That's not good. That's not good. Overwatch failed. It flopped. What is Overwatch? It's literally the first game they resold
that's
it.
because it's a reskin. Of course it failed. When you don't put effort into a game, it's gonna fail.
Change the lighting, right? Yeah.
But the developers complained about those. I forgot the name of the dev. She was so pissed at Bobby Kotick, and I think people underestimate how much of a prat he's been in this whole organization. And we've had on Xbox era, they had Seamus Blackley literally tell out how obstructive this guy was. Seamus Blackley, the father of Xbox, said that about Bobby Kotick and how crazy he was. And he'll get his payout, but there's prospect of change. Otherwise, PlayStation goes like, well, no, it's bad because you're consolidating, buying the whole industry. What game? What game? Apart from COD, which you're going to get for 10 years. What else? What are you worried about? Don't pretend. It's just bullshit. Like, I don't know. ABK, Moneybag with the $5 super chat. Thank you. Because ABK deal about devs to me is not about games. Ponies say support the devs, but not want the deal to the devs do. I think he's trying to say it's not about the devs, and PlayStation fanboys are trying to say support the devs, but they're contradicting themselves. Pixelbit G with the $5 super chat. Sony uses money and influence to secure 200 exclusives a year. I don't know if that number's correct, but wow. Microsoft could buy 50 studios and not keep up. I don't know where you get that from. Yeah. Maybe he's right, but Microsoft could buy 50 studios and not keep up with that pace. I think after ABK, maybe a Japanese outfit, which may not be feasible, they should quit. But if it was possible, the smart publisher for either Sony or Microsoft to buy is Capcom. It would be the Capcom.
Okay, but my thing is they're in turmoil. They're having all these issues, right? Why is it Microsoft's job to buy it and fix it?
What do you mean? It's not Microsoft's job, but he can do that to
buy ABK.
Yeah, but why are you so concerned? Like, oh my God, they're cutting stuff out. Like, I mean, that's, you know what I mean?
Because that's the light at the end of the tunnel. Like, if they don't do it, bro, Blizzard are massive. Ask any Blizzard fan how sad they are, the state of affairs. Asa, you're a big Blizzard fan. Can you confidently say Blizzard are healthy?
No, so for me, one of the biggest travesties in the history of acquisitions is the fact that Blizzard ended up Activision. That was a massive problem because Blizzard were a wonderful studio and they ended up at Activision and now they're not a wonderful studio. So whether Microsoft will make them better or worse, though, it's like who knows? Who knows how much Microsoft are getting
Asa don't
there.
feel confident about it. He knows it. He's like, oh.
The ideal for me, I would love to see Blizzard spun off entirely. Like if that was a way to get the deal through, I don't like the way that Activision and they're a problem publisher. You know, I've said this for many years. Like every time that EA will win in their worst company in the world things, I always say, look what Activision are doing, flying under the radar, doing the most sinister shit.
They are. Said that for years, Asa did. 7 years ago,
way before all of this acquisition stuff started. So like if Microsoft fixed that problem, then that's a net positive for sure. But I think what Blaze is getting at, though, a lot of people are saying that the CMA and the FTC and the European, whatever they're called, should be letting this deal through for the sake of the employees at Activision, Blizzard, King, and whatever. And that's fundamentally not really exactly. It's not what they're about. So if there is a problem, if government authorities want to protect workers in those countries, it's not the consumer protection regulators that should be taking that on. So that is a fair point. And I think it was the FTC have said, like, we're not considering that because that's not our job. That's not what this organization does.
You hear that, guys?
And that's true.
What? The FTC literally protecting Sony. They're breastfeeding them constantly. It makes no sense. Lena Khan's out there trying to build.
Xbox not the world police. They can't just say, oh, we're going to fix you. They're not.
No one is suggesting Microsoft's the world police, but what's the alternative? Who is going to do it?
The alternative is they go to auction and we buy them for a cheap price, baby.
Go to auction. What ABK? After Lulu Massive is not going to have that happen.
I want it to happen. Just let the deal go through so we can just move forward, bro. Honestly, I'm sick of. I get it. We have gaming. We all have channels. We have to talk about this shit. But it's like, God, man, just let them buy it. Just let them buy it at this point.
It is stupid, and I will say this, my attitude when it does go through, and I do feel confident it will, is we need to be on Microsoft's case 24/7 on this once the deal. What are you doing with COD? Make it biannual, fine. Or let's see the quality of that.
Where's the VR version? Where's the VR version? Give me the VR version. Where's the VR version? Microsoft
I see a lot of Xbox guys saying, "Oh, I'm sick of the VR talk." That's because you don't have VR, buddy. That's why. If you had VR, you wouldn't say that. And VR is not for everybody. It's definitely not, and it's not taking over gaming, and it's you're still gonna play with your controller, but to have the option, like I can't believe a company like Microsoft hasn't said, hey, the Quest 2 is compatible with the Xbox. Like I can't believe they haven't figured that out or done that yet. It's crazy.
They can't even get their first party. My attitude is, whilst I respect Sony for what they're doing, Microsoft at the same time, I'm like, you first do the basics and get your first parties right, because you can't juggle too many things. Quite clearly, you struggle with the most basic things. Power was a guaranteed win, yet you fucked that up, and now you've got first party games. You're still messing that up, and hopefully you fix that. Then we can talk about going on your endeavors, because it's still niche, but respect goes to Sony always for not only delivering on their first parties, but being able to venture into tech like VR. And so we will maintain that forever. We've always said that. So that's why I'm saying that Microsoft, fix your shit first before you go into VR, which may, when it take time to get the traction, it will. But forever in the history books, PlayStation will get the props for taking the risk twice. Dub, thank you for being a member for 12 months. He goes, why is it studios that have issues at Xbox cause folks to ignore the studios that have great success at Xbox? Why is it the studios that have issues at cause? Okay, so we ignore some studios that have successes at Xbox, but do we ignore now Tango Gameworks? We're waxing lyrical about them. By the way, Shinji Mikami's left. And a lot of people he's going to PlayStation.
Well, he hasn't been doing a whole lot. He didn't do Evil Within 2, and he didn't do Hi-Fi Rush. So I guess, I don't know, he's been in the industry for 33 years or something.
What
was the other question you asked me? Yeah. What was the other question you asked me? Like, why don't we celebrate?
Dub is like, we always focus on the negative and how bad the Xbox studios are. What about the good the Xbox studios do?
Well,
can you think of?
It's because the perception is way off on fanboys when they argue about Xbox, because their first studios, except for 343, who's a big diarrhea mess. Their first studios are really, really good. They consistently put out high rated games. The perception is shifted because Xbox has worked with third party studios and done a terrible job of just letting them do their thing, and they do a terrible. I remember back in 2018 or 2019, Phil Spencer went to check on Sumido Digital working on Crackdown 3, an Xbox IP, and Phil said on Giant Bomb, I didn't like the way that the agent felt and moved, and they needed to go back and just fix some things. And I was like, well, if you guys would have been checking in, like, you should be overseeing a major franchise being done by another studio. And I felt like for a long time, Xbox done, well, we're having this team work on this, and they're going to work on this IP for us. And they're going to do that. And then they just like trust them. The money will prevail. And no, it doesn't. So the lowest rated games on Xbox, except for Bleeding Edge, State of Decay 2, and Sea of Thieves, all of them are in the 80s and up. All of the first party games. Now, Sea of Thieves is way better for those that like that game, and State of Decay could have been way better if it waited a year. So their first party studios are really, really good, and they're close to PlayStation's first party studios. Like, remember I said, in this generation,
Blaze.
This generation, Blaze, Xbox's first party studios are right at, if not just over, in the review scores as PlayStation's.
This year? Or this
past 2 years. Since the Series S and X generation has begun, the first party games that were released on the Xbox Series S and X are at an 86 to an 87 meta, and PlayStation is an 85 to 86 meta. Okay. But that perception is not there because you see something like Horizon Zero Dawn that looks so much better than State of Decay 2, and you're like, well, Xbox sucks.
No, the visuals.
It is kind of crazy. Now, here's the other thing, Blaze.
Horizon sucks.
11 games.
Trash, by the way.
I like Horizon Forbidden or Horizon Zero Dawn. But here's the thing. Right now, Xbox first party has 11 games. PlayStation has 15 or 16 if you count Call of the Mountain.
Yeah.
By the end of the year, Xbox and PlayStation will have the same amount of first party studio release games in this generation. And according to what we have coming out on the Xbox, the score should remain pretty much the same. They're both at around the mid 80s. And I've said this for like 2 months, Gaz, and you smirked over there, and I could see you. I could see you smirking at me.
It's hard.
What did I tell you guys in 79? What's Far Cry 7? I think it'll be a 79. Oh, wait, it's not called Far Cry 7. What's it called? The vampire game?
Redfall.
Redfall.
Yeah.
Now, Redfall, I think Redfall would probably bring the score down, and I think Minecraft Legends will as well. That's going to be really iffy because I think Redfall could get an 82 or maybe an 84 or maybe an 80. I don't know. I'm thinking 82. But
I'm excited for Redfall. I'm gonna definitely play that co-op.
I'm excited.
Maybe with Rev, somebody. I'm excited for it.
But the other thing, Blaze, is Arcane Austin, the team that did Prey and Dishonored 1 and 2. They've never had a low-rated game. I don't think they've ever dipped below the mid 80s.
Yeah, I wish they would continue making Dishonored 2. That's awesome.
Well, I mean, it would be nice. Well, that's what's going to happen is reviewers are going to find out if they can play Redfall by themselves and get that same Arcane experience without, you need to play it in co-op to experience it truly. But Arcane has said themselves, they want you to play this game alone. And then they say, but we also want you to play it with friends. So there is a perception. And I get, like, Gaz can smirk and laugh at me all he wants because when you look at the games, like, PlayStation games look way more impressive. Like God of War and Horizon and Spider-Man, like those games just look so epic.
Why is that, Cole? Why do you think why have you think they have made, I'm not saying there's been some pretty Xbox games, but why other than Playground games and Forza
or the Coalition,
or Gears of War, like why do you think there's like all these?
Well, I mean, you're answering your own question. You're answering your own question. That's all they've had for 20 years. That's basically all that's prevailed until 2019 has been a Forza team,
you're right,
a Halo team, and a Gears team, and then a Fable team, which was floundering for much of the past decade. So, and then they closed that studio. So you're like, why haven't they made a game on the level? Well, but Gears has always been really super impressive. Always.
Absolutely.
Right? And then Forza Horizon, which has always been treated as a first-party game, has always been one of the top-tier games among all other games.
Yeah,
but it's just a racing game. So the perception, I'm here agreeing with you. The perception is heavily in the favor of PlayStation. But when you step back and look at the numbers, you're like, geez, I thought Xbox blew. But no,
so why is
you know what it is then? You know what it is, guys? I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you. I think the perception is Xbox, Sony's gonna the whole 90 Metacritic, like that's the threshold. Other than Playground games is
yeah,
right. The Playgrounds has hit 90s, right?
93.
But I'm just saying, like I think, and like a successful new IP is the hardest thing to do in the industry, and I think PlayStation has done a good job of, it might have not been a 90 more times than Xbox, and I think I don't know, it's. Like I said,
Xbox
when
is
Xbox
rarely
gets rolling, it's going to get really crazy because
this is what we've been saying for a while. Like on paper, it looks very, very strong, and everything has been delayed, and Microsoft messes up routinely. This is why it's frustrating as a Xbox fan to see that. But it should. It's coming. Hellblade, where is it? That could be good. It could be big for it. It could be that beautiful looking game that if it
Hellblade will
scores
be pretty. For sure.
It will be pretty. Whether or not it will be a good game, I'm confident. But then I see Tamim Antonelli is on holiday 24/7.
Where's Hellblade,
with all these
man? Oh my god.
We don't know. We don't know.
All I see is Iceland pictures. I haven't seen that game in 5 years, man.
Gaz and I make fun of that all the time on the show.
Why is that taking so long, man?
Gaz says like every time he checks on and what's the guy's name? You have it. You remember?
Tamim Antonelli, whatever his name is. He's just always like with models and chilling and just on a helicopter. I'm like, when are you working? It's like this guy's always chilling. Like, where is it? Like this E3,
he's got this big
I'm going to be
in his mouth. He's got his arm around like 4 babes in a hot tub, like it's 1987.
I don't blame him.
And he's just like.
He's living the life, but we want to see the game. If he can do that and deliver a great game, said this guy is the hero. He's the hero of life. But that's the problem, and that's the attitude. I know I'm not your co-host anymore. Apart from Monday, it's gonna be the last day. But I hope, Colt, like you just hold their feet to the fire rawly until E3 just unrelenting. That's what Xbox guys need to do. They need to do that.
I'm not worried about that. I already know the slate of games that are coming and everybody's really excited. They're like, my feet to the fire is like, gosh dang it, open your mouth and start showing stuff more often. Right now, we're going to get the announcement for the Starfield Developer Direct on Monday or Tuesday. But Starfield's just been like, we can't say anything until that big announcement. It's like, I don't know. And I argue with other people. They're like, that's not how marketing works. I'm like, don't tell me how marketing works. I work in that. You need to speak up and get people. You need to start generating a momentum of excitement. And don't tell me because I watch PlayStation do it all the time. Little bits and pieces, a little more. You generate this momentum and it starts to build up. And then you explode with state of play and you show 18 minutes of gameplay. And then you show your trailers and you plaster stuff on the buses and on the, butt crack of Randall Thor, and then you got like an amazing marketing cycle.
Where do you see Starfield lands, Colt? You see it in the high 80s, 90? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Bethesda's Softworks has never had a bad game except for Fallout 76. That's what we call an outlier. That game's garbage. I've played it 5 or 6 times in different. We're not talking about Fallout 76. Game sucks. Okay, don't argue with me on that one. I don't like it.
No.
They put out great games. They do really good games, and this is something they've worked on for a long time. So this is like their next Skyrim. It's their next Fallout. It's like their big deal because Fallout 76 was, hey, let's phone this in and send the other team to work on most of it over in Texas. That's what they did, and it shows. And I tell people all the time, especially if you're a content creator, if you don't put in the effort, it will show. People will notice, and they'll notice you're being lazy. And Starfield is a big deal. And Starfield would have been out by now, I think, if Bethesda was independent. I think Xbox had a lot to say, like, look, we've been burned a couple times with big games, and we're not doing it with Starfield. You guys deserve to give it the proper release. And I think that means it's June. And if it's not June, they're not gonna release it in the summertime. They'll wait till the fall.
Yeah.
I hope it's summertime because there is nothing to do in the summertime, other than go on vacation. But you want to be playing a big game.
You're like me, right, Blaze? When the sun goes down, you're on your on your games.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. 91 dead time SEO in chat. That's where it should land.
91.
I think 88. I've been saying 88 for a while. There's going to be things that people don't like about it in the reviews. It's going to bring it down from being that 90 tier. And it's hard to get a 90. It's really hard.
Unless you're Nintendo.
Then you just get it. They get a free pass for some shit. Yeah, we'll see.
Nintendo's magic, man. They're magic. They've got
Nintendo
magic.
reuses every. Man, I'm so sick of Nintendo, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, as an Italian, I take offense. My poor Mario, he's got broken legs, a bad back. Poor guy.
He's going strong, man. He's going strong. He's having glow up on TV soon. He's going to be big. He's repping. It's Italians pretty strongly. Money back with the $2 super chat. If I buy a house and I block it, it's business.
Read it again. You read it wrong.
If you buy a house and I blocks, it's business.
He said, "You buy a house, I buy blocks." Is how I read it. So he was. I think he was making a point.
I see. He's buying blocks. So it's an American term, isn't it? Around the block. We don't say block. Well, Jason Strauss says block all the time. But yeah, I get it. Fonz Gaming with the one. He says, "I say F the devs, support yourselves, and get Game Pass." What? Why is that?
Well, you know the line that people have. You have to buy the game to support the devs. Fonzie's being messy, saying, he just says F the devs, get the Game Pass. Look out for yourself, and you're right, Fonz, do that.
Absolutely. They get enough money as it is. Dr. Sunday with the $5 super checkers. Do you think Xbox receives harsher Metacritic criticism than PlayStation? I see that a lot, and I don't think so. Because there have been examples where games, I think Ghost of Tsushima got harsher done by.
Ghost of Tsushima deserves like high 80s. I think it's an 80. What is it? An
84, 83, 84.
Yeah, I mean, it's an 87, 88 game easily.
Yeah, at least. So I say swap the Metacritic scores for Spider-Man 2018 and Ghost of Tsushima around. Ghost of Tsushima is an 83, I thought, but now I can't type Tsushima.
Yeah,
it's 83. Right. 83, yeah.
That's crazy.
That's too low for a game like that. I think it's because everyone was like, "Oh, Ubisoft like Assassin's Creed game," but the character of it's going through.
Man. They're all the same.
Even Xbox guys were saying like, okay, this is. I saw you guys early days, Day Dealer, and everyone was like, "This is a very good game." Fonz as well. But I don't think that's the case. I think Nintendo get a bit of maybe they. I think Nintendo's looked at with like rose-tinted goggles sometimes, and their games get overly rated, in my opinion.
Well, I don't think you shouldn't give a game a super high mark because of how it looks or how it looks like a movie or that. There's just no. I don't play a lot of those Nintendo games, but when I say magic, like you always hear about the big fans that love the Nintendo games, like they just adore those games. And my kids will mess around with Animal Crossing, and they'll have it up on the TV, and I'll go, "Gosh, I don't want to play that," but I can see that people just have so much joy playing those games. Yeah, and they're not for us. If you want to be like in Ghost of Tsushima that Asa was shown on the screen, and jump off of like huts and stab people through with a katana, you're getting that ultimate experience. But somebody else is like, "This game's magical, and I'm picking fruit." And that's why I don't make fun of Nintendo. Like, what's the point of making fun of a game that millions love and you don't like? That's just dumb. It's a waste of time.
I mean, it's not for everyone, but Nintendo has that magic, and I think like their games, like I genuinely can't wait for the Zelda. I always forget the name. I genuinely can't wait
for that to run in a big empty open world hitting little piggies. You can't wait for that one.
I will say I have some questions.
That world is barren, empty, pixelated with pigs.
Blaze is with me on this one, Gaz. I've tried twice to play.
Yeah.
I'm not knocking it. It's just Nintendo.
It's not for me.
Yeah, the hardware.
I loved it.
If they had better hardware, trust me, that game would come out a little bit differently. They could.
I absolutely agree.
That's a beautiful moment. So
it just sucked me into the world. Like there was a feel I can't qualify in words because it made me closest I felt to playing Ocarina of Time, which is my top 3 games of all time. Was that game. But they had weaknesses. They had some of them, what you mentioned. But for me, it was the dungeons, and well, there's a lot there. But this is the Game of the Year contender for a reason, and it could deliver. Like some bits, I'm questioning. this looks a bit of like almost DLC, but then I made this mistake with Majora's Mask. Nintendo is special. The industry cannot do without.
This is
Nintendo
not DLC, guys. But God,
no, that's what I said. I got a lot of flack for saying like this looks like DLC. It very does.
Make sure you keep pushing that narrative as much as you did with PlayStation. Make sure I want to see.
Yeah, no, I said it with this, and I was getting it, but you have to understand, this is Nintendo. Like in a few mechanics, everyone will end up copying them. Look at Immortals Phoenix Rising, copied them. Look at what's that mobile game everyone plays?
But Nintendo copied The Witcher. They were highly even he said I was inspired by The Witcher 3.
Yeah, but they made in what sense? What do they copy?
What Zelda? How Zelda's being played now?
Well,
it's like a big
Breath of the
world.
Wild?
Yeah. He said that.
Maybe in the open world, but look at the mechanics. Like all the mechanics were copied by.
I'll say this: the fact you can cut in like grass. I was sitting there cutting grass for like 10 minutes, like chopping down trees. That's like not in any game. Like that's awesome. That part.
I mean, a little attention to detail. Look at the AI in that game. Like they all react. Like you drop their weapons, pick up other weapons, pick up your weapon.
You see a little, and they don't talk or move their mouth. It's really good. The AI is really good. Yeah.
Nintendo games suck you into their universe. This looks amazing, actually. Looking back on it now, it just kind of gives me a vibe I can't explain. But it does look barren, but I don't think you'll worry. Like, and Zelda fans won't worry about that. Still waiting for a platformer that beats Mario. That's right, Hagi. Thank you for the super chat. Because Zelda is, Zelda, but I guess Sony thinks Nintendo only makes fitness games. Oh, Blaze, you want to come at?
I got nothing to say on my Habibi.
Why you love Huggy? You're pretty nice to him.
Huggy's the best, bro. He has the biggest heart.
Yeah, he has the biggest heart. He is.
No complaints for Huggy.
Yeah, you were saying nice things about you yesterday as well, Huggy. So that's true. But yeah, so like it's going to be an interesting year. Lots of drama, lots of games, lots of dankness. But we hopefully we'll see something good. We didn't talk about. Well, actually, we didn't. We skipped Atomic Heart. Can we just wrap up on that before we do? Dorian Gray with a $5 super chat. The typical Sony fan flowchart. It's not about power. Xbox is games. It's not about games. Nintendo, it's power. What? It's not about games. Nintendo, it's power. Oh, he's saying that they flipped.
That's funny. He's saying how they move the goalposts. That it's not about power, it's about the games. And then he says the same about Nintendo.
He's talking about me, basically. I mean, listen, honestly, though, they do. Listen, you know how many Switches I got? I can't even. This thing is a dust collector unless my son wants to play it. Metroid Prime, I just downloaded it. I'll try it later. But the thing needs more power. Like, if they want to keep this portability factor, make the dock. When you dock it, it can, put an output out to 1440. They got to find Nintendo consoles come out as gimmicks. That's Nintendo always needs a gimmick to sell you the next console. Just go back, just look. Like it's always some sort of gimmick with Nintendo when it comes to their consoles. I'm not saying they're bad consoles. I'm just saying I wanted a Super Nintendo 2 or a Game Boy, a GameCube 2. I just wanted a traditional console from Nintendo. Is it really cool? Is it dope that you can switch in between? Yes, but it's lacking on the power. I'm serious. This is like a BlackBerry in here. You know what I mean? Like
BlackBerry.
I mean,
it is.
I always say, why not have more power so they can have more multiplats and sell those on the platform?
Right.
Like the Switch, the Nintendo platform doesn't have to be this place where only these little games can be played. And when we talked like 2.5 hours ago about how Call of Duty will eventually be on the Nintendo platform when they have a new console, like I know we make fun of it. Like, where's the Assassin's Creed games? Where's the Far Cry games? Let me just say these as like multiplats. Like, where are all those games? They never make it on the Nintendo platform. And if they did, and I think I've said this for like 20 years, Blaze. If they did, you really could only need the next Nintendo console. Because you could play all the big multiplats on it because they would always be there. Then you could get their games, and then you just need a PlayStation if you want to get those exclusives. But it could become the place to play. But you're right; they have to sell the gimmick. I don't hate them for it. They win either way. They do amazing.
Yep,
they do amazing. But if they did, like, there's Unreal Engine demos of Zelda, and you're like, I look at that and I'm like, what could be? There's no reason why that would not benefit. benefit the game.
I know you've seen that video. I've seen that same video. I'm like, wow.
So give us that. But I don't know. I think hopefully Nintendo will do and surprise us. Yeah, there was a point where they cared, like Nintendo 64. That was powerful.
That's the thing. We don't want to dabble with the power thing. Oh, okay. You did it for, you know what I mean? Now you're dealing with power. I've seen all those commercials as a kid. Like Nintendo couldn't compete with Xbox and Sony when it came to that, and they just gave up. That's what happened on the power narrative.
Definitely. Yeah. I can't be asked to talk about Atomic Heart. We talked about the power. We've all played it. But before we just wrap up on it, Blaze, have you played Atomic Heart?
I played very briefly of it. I just downloaded it. I've been so,
busy with VR.
But fair enough. That game was always on my radar. I was always looking forward to it. Nothing has changed. I'm still looking forward to it. I just haven't got a chance to really get into it. So.
But Cole, you played it and you were pissed off about. You were really pissed at the game at the start, but now you're like enjoying it more, or maybe it's still crap.
Well, I mean, it's a bug-ridden game. It just doesn't run well, and it's got problems. And you get in this one area, and the forklifts are going at like 13 frames per second.
You're on the Xbox?
Yeah.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah. Well,
he caught that. Gaz didn't. But Cole caught it.
No, I did. Yeah. Gaz wasn't watching. Gaz, I did this. So there's a bug where you're supposed to get in an elevator to leave the building you just fought in, and it's happening to a lot of people. And you jump drop into the elevator, and the floor moves, and you just fall down to an eternity below the map. I saw that
on Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah, and I eventually got it. I got so desperate because I'm pretty much enjoying the game that I tried switching which gun I was holding out of the 5, and I would jump in there and it would let me stay before the floor would disappear. And I finally got it by dashing in and forcing the game to keep the floor there. But it's a widespread problem. I don't know if it's across both consoles, but it would seem like it would be. It's an error with the loading screen of a elevator, but the game's weird. It's so weird. It's just so sluggish. Your character moves really slow. You can't block. The switching weapons mechanic is like, what are you doing? You've seen a million games that do this much better.
But it looks nice though.
Yeah. And I haven't watched the Digital Foundry on the performance issues. I haven't had any performance issues, but I'm sure it drops at times where it does on the PlayStation. And Nivik's like, runs good on the PS5, runs good. I only play in one place. Yeah, all right. So I'm a Sony only fan. He's got the bib on. It's like,
leave Nivik alone.
Because I don't have any first party games until the end of the year. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah.
No, interesting game. But I can see why it's a mid 70s, because it does some really cool things, and it's got some moments in it, and I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it looks beautiful though. A lot of people like downgrade visually. I did not feel that.
No, it's amazing looking. Yeah. And it just let me end it by saying everything's really good except the constant need for you to do puzzles that no one likes. There's these block picking puzzles that are they're kind of just frustrating. Like this, who would enjoy some of this? Like getting 3 colored circles to land in the right spot by rotating and swapping spots, and your character's always like, okay, I need to go over there. Oh, but I have to go do 9 things and get through some mental puzzle and physically based puzzle. And I don't know. That's just kind of.
I give it credit for, I remember looking at this game like, this ain't real. This ain't never going to come out. That's honest. Yeah. That's what I kept saying to myself. Like, this game's never going to come out. It was too good to be true. That's how impressed I was with it. Like the BioShock.
That's what Asa was saying. Yeah.
So you played Asa?
No, I've not played it. I might do, but they have also said that they are planning or were planning to add VR support post-launch. So
wow,
I can wait.
Oof. Yeah,
VR pancake games, right?
Pancake.
What a weird terminology.
A lot of people doubted this game was real because of the vertical slice, because on the visual front. Yeah, on the visual front, it seems to have really impressed, but it just technically there are some issues and bugs and gameplay-wise.
A lot of people liking it, man. I see a lot of people.
I'm like 6 or 8 hours into it, maybe 6, but a lot of people who haven't played it very much don't understand. Like you get out of one of the buildings and it has like 2,500 meters you can drive this way or that way in like a Y direction. And you're like, this isn't really open, but why is this so spacious? Like there's nothing out here I'm in a car like Far Cry driving, and I'm like, there's nothing that's telling me to stop in these areas and check it out. And so I really didn't. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll just go back to doing the main stuff. It's just weird, but it is a very cool game. And like Blaze said earlier in the show, would you have played it if there was Game Pass? That's not an insult. That's an amazing thing. Like I would have never played what's it called? What's that cyberpunk isometric game you and I played?
Oh, The Ascent.
The Ascent.
The Ascent. I would have never played that if it wasn't on Game Pass, and it was so
really good,
awesome,
though, right? Yeah.
I loved it. I would have never played it. And but I mean, I'm giving them $200 a year. I would like to get my money's worth. And
wait, Cole, you don't get the Microsoft. We got you, Cole. Keep doing what you're doing. Approval.
hush, hush, money.
Hey, Cole, listen. Cole, if I'm in your position, Cole,
just
listen. Cole, you're gonna be so successful on here. But you already are. But what I'm saying is, if I'm you, I'm staying green and I'm staying one straight road. Nothing is gonna push me off this road. That's all I'm saying to you.
You know what somebody said the other day, Blaze? They were like, remember when being a sellout was an insult? And now people are like, where can I sign up to sell out?
Right. Yeah.
I saw that the other day. I thought it was so funny.
Yeah.
Because it's so funny. They're like, oh, because the sellout was such a bad thing. But now it's, if a studio gets bigger and bigger and they get AAA, it's like the best thing ever. But before, if it's your band, they have to play in front of 40 people and not have a record label, or else they're uncool. But anyway.
Everybody, listen, everybody wants to call people sellouts and, oh, he's just catering. But everybody that's a content creator would want to swap positions. You know what I mean? Everybody wants to get to that point. So the fact that you shit on people at that point, you're either jealous or out of your mind. I don't know which one it is. But
I mean, people call me a shill, and Xbox sent me a Series X, but I already bought one. I already bought one, prepaid for it on Amazon, and it was on its way. And I ended up giving it to dealer so he could get it to someone who couldn't get one at launch. But they did give me 12 months of Game Pass with that console on the review, but that's long gone. But it's like the whole sellout thing. Oh, you get free stuff from Xbox. I got a Age of Empires controller. It's really cool. But I don't know.
Yeah. Do you really?
It's cool to get stuff like that.
That's an exclusive.
Really cool. Yeah, they're not selling it. I wish they did.
Wow.
Hold on, where is it? It's right here.
Oh, you can't buy them? That's pretty sick.
No, you can't.
Wow, that's dope. Wow, that's fine. You know what the best Xbox controller I got?
It's supposed to be leather. It's kind of desaturated on this camera, but it's all shiny. But that's chainmail on the bottom.
Dope.
Chainmail.
And then the back has the logo on the back. And I like
they always do either the gold. I see the best controller I got is the Sea of Thieves. That's the best controller they've ever made.
Yeah, that looks
it
nice.
glows in the dark. Cool. It's got the gold. I love that.
Glows in the dark. Oh shit.
Yeah. The Sea of Thieves logo glows in the dark.
That's wicked.
I mean, Xbox is really good at making controllers, but I don't know if they're going to make some games anytime soon.
Hope so.
And if you can't laugh about this stuff, like people try to come at me with laughing, crying emojis, man. You gotta laugh it off, man.
Old Duke. Well, not the Duke.
Oh, do you have this controller?
No. Wait.
You know what this is?
Hold on, bro. Put it closer to your monitor so that white on the monitor will light it up. Push it toward your other monitor. Yeah. Oh man, that's dope. Okay, hold on.
Lighting. Hold on, let me turn on my light. This is the Cortana Duke controller, and when you turn it on, it boots up with Halo and Cortana's face on it. You've never seen that?
Nah, man.
What?
That's amazing.
Let me see if it'll turn on.
Put the batteries in there.
Cole's about to outdo me. You always gotta shine,
That's not a Duke though, is it?
That is a Duke.
That's the upgraded Duke, yeah.
Yeah, this is the slightly smaller one.
That was for the Japanese. Damn, why is it not? Oh man, too bad it won't turn on. It has to have the original cord, I'm guessing, but it's awesome.
It's running out of batteries. That's it. That's like Xbox.
Yeah, I don't know where my other stuff is, but were you looking at my butt when I was doing that, Gas?
Definitely. There's nothing I've not seen before.
But this controller is awesome. It has Cortana's face on it, and it has the whole Halo 2, and it shows her face in blue. It's awesome. It lights up. I don't know why it won't turn on, but just look up a video. It's fucking the best controller they put out for Duke.
Yeah.
You see the 360 controls they got? Same company. I think it's Hyper King. They're coming out with the 360, the remade 360, the remastered version of the 360. It's the same company that did the Dukes, but it's 360 controllers. And the 360
I don't mind that many. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of like collecting loads.
Yeah, you're not a historian of the game. You're just here to talk. You don't really collect games. You're not really a gamer, guys. And
shut the fuck. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna bring it to an end. Sorry, apologies to chat. Doc couldn't make it. He had to do some crazy stuff at work, but I never heard from him for a while. So hopefully he makes it soon. But I hope everything's okay. But thank you to Cole Eastwood for stepping up and making the show dank. He just brought so much energy in his dank. It was good. So see, we may not be able to always do an excellency. We can do it here. One more excellency together before we say goodbye. I have to say goodbye to guests. Colt.
Hey, let me do the sign out for Blaze. I'm glad to be here with Blaze. And we bickered back and forth on Twitter, but it's pretty cool to be in a show with them. And if I'll be on your show if you ever want to. I don't know if you'd want to have me and have me just eaten alive by all the piranhas in the chat. I think it'd be fun.
No. My chat. I want to have you. I already told guys this yesterday. I'll have you. If I tell Rev Colt's coming with Gaz. He'll get up for me. Yeah, he'll come show up for me. I try to leave him alone nowadays because he's always busy. But I would definitely come on, bro. It would be great to have that. Would be a great show. And Asa, if you can come to Asa, listen, are you signed to did Gas sign you for 10-year contract? Because if you could run my show for me, that'd be great.
I love it.
Yeah,
I'm glad to be here, man. Honestly, it was a great show. Unfortunate Doc couldn't come, but it is what it is. Colt came. He's the better Xbox version anyway, so
I don't know about that.
No, it's awesome. But thank you both gents for coming on, man. It was such a fun show. It could go on for a while, but it was brilliant. And normally I give the outros to the guests at the end, but that's just kind of worked out that way. Thank you everyone in chat. Please hit the like button on the way out if you enjoyed the show. Asa, tell the people. I know you've been tired because you had a long day. What's in store for you, Mr. VR man?
It has been a long day. I've obviously got lots of VR stuff going on at the moment because there are lots of things going on in that space, but also some pancake games. I do my usual Thursday show on my channel. I'm going to be doing a more formal review of the PSVR 2 headset for this channel that we're on right now, probably, as long as it's any good. Loads of things going on, so come check out my channel as well. And here next week, make sure if you're not already subscribed to Colt and Blaze, go and do that as well. And thank you both. So thanks Blaze for coming on and being an outstanding guest as you always are, and Colt for stepping in and setting the record straight. It was fun to watch.
Yeah, it was.
I got to learn. I got corrected a few times as well, which helps. I'll put that in the notes.
No, it was good. It was a great show, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for jumping in. And Blaze, as always, you kill it. Thank you again. And your room is crazy, but now the lights are on. But yeah, shout out to everyone. Nah, it looks good, man. Shout out to everyone in chat. You will see us very soon. The next video from me will, I'm trying to get a source video next week. It has to be next week. So please, the source is back and it's attacking PlayStation. But then before that, most likely.
Are they all not attacking PlayStation?
No, have you not seen the last one?
Oh, yeah.
His last couple.
That's right.
He's gone after Xbox guys, the last couple ones.
The last one was just all Xbox. You saw the rap video. But we also have the Wolong Fallen Dynasty review. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. So please do like, share, subscribe, and all that stuff. And we'll see you next week. Before that, Randall Thor 19 with his $10 super chat. Don't leave, guys. I'm sorry, Rand. Thank you for the super chat. It's very generous of you. Always you do the right at the end as I'm doing my outro.
Rand's the man.
Thank you.
Love Rand.
Rand is the man. Rand is a G. Shout out to Rand. He's an unstoppable force. But yeah, thank you everyone.
And I put a channel marketing banner on his backside that he has to walk around this week. It's like a big sticker on the back of his pants. He has to walk around and push my channel. So go sub to Cole Eastwood.
Well, yeah, you'll see me on Monday with Colt, our last and final show together as co-host. But you've got the mag on, which is going to be it's a great addition to the show, man. So we'll look forward to see you all on Monday. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you again, Rand, for that super chat, and take care. Peace. Love you all.
Pretty. Oh, won't you please